here to have some fun. We're going to run down the worst comic books of the year. We're going to hear everyone's opinions on this one. Going to have a good time. Talk about a little bit of comic book news. Wow, he's got notes.
Dude, I counted how many Marvel comics. I was up to 15 Marvel, shitty Marvel comics. Oh, just shitty ones.
Yeah, wow. Marvel's been rough.
Dude, I was surprised there weren't more DC comics, but we'll get there.
Absolutely. And we do have returning Dylan. You're moving as well. It's not just Sully that's moving.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm in a new spot now. I finally got internet. It was hell getting internet set up. It was a pain in the ass. It just kept setting up dates and then contractors not showing up. Then finally got internet. But
yeah, as we were supposed to record the Q&A last week, you're actually supposed to be on the Aficionados, but then your internet kept getting interrupted.
Yep, it kept the last Saturday. They said they gave, like a 10-hour window, and then they never showed up or called or said anything that they weren't going to show up. And so that was very sad. But we're here now.
How did the Zoomers handle not having internet? It'd be like not having water or air to breathe. You guys are kind of addicted to it, right?
I mean, it sucks not having internet, but I'm a physical media guy. I got a lot of comic books. I got a lot of 4K Blu-rays. I'm fine without internet. I'm good to go. I'm built for this.
You're ready for the apocalypse.
He's ready for the big old sunburst.
He's got a case of Spam in the corner, got some extra water, and some comic books.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
So you're a big Star Wars fan. There was a big show that came out, and I just started watching it today with my boys. We didn't get too far into it, but did you get to watch Skeleton Crew?
Yes, and it's surprisingly not bad. I've watched every episode of Skeleton Crew. I did miss like the first bit of the first episode because like I was over at my sister's house and she was watching it, and that's how I started watching it. And it's surprisingly not bad. My main complaint is I don't care about any of the kids at all. But Jude Law's I'm a big Jude Law fan, and he's doing a great job. Like I really like Jude Law on the show, and the story's pretty interesting. And also it finally is a Star Wars show that looks like its budget. A lot of the times people are like, oh, this show cost $300 million. It's like, where'd the budget go? It looks awful. The show actually looks pretty good, and I'm digging it so far. It does have the Disney Plus problem. Here's the first episode. It's an hour long. Next episode, 20 minutes. Next episode, 17 minutes. It's like it keeps getting shorter, which is kind of annoying. But it's not bad so far. I'm enjoying it. It's like, what, 3 episodes in, I think? 3 or 4 episodes in. Yeah, it's not bad.
So you're not liking the little elephant face kid?
I mean, I don't hate any of it. Well, other than the little girl, the white girl. I think she's incredibly annoying. Other than her, I don't hate any of the kids, but I don't care about any of them either. They're just like, they're whatever.
It's not like the Goonies.
Yeah, no.
Where they all have personalities and they're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're all kind of just, the 2 boys are idiots and the 2 girls are kind of like the smart ones, and that's how it is.
So this is going to get you to Andor, though.
Yes, I can't wait for Andor season 2. If Andor season 2 sucks, that'll be very disappointing because the first season was so good.
Do you have Andor on physical media?
Yes, I do. I have Andor on. I got the Steelbook.
Well, very nice. I didn't even think they were doing Blu-rays and DVDs anymore.
No, yeah, they are. Disney Plus does them. Netflix is the one that it's almost never does them. Netflix occasionally will give the rights to someone to do it, but it's very rare, which sucks because Netflix has Fincher's last movie, The Killer, which is really good, but it's only on Netflix. I wish they would do a 4K for it.
The movie.
Disney... Go ahead. Sorry.
I really like the Hemsworth movie property on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Extraction?
Action movies.
Extraction. Yeah. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, those movies are fun.
Yeah. So you're a big Jude Law fan. What do you think is his best performance? What do you think his best role is?
Best role? Actually, probably the movie I just saw, which was The Order. Have you seen the trailer for The Order? He kills it in The Order. It's about it took place here in Washington back in like the 80s when you had like a white supremacist group that was like robbing banks and stuff. And there was a detective that was an FBI detective that was hunting him down, and that's like the whole premise of it. He plays the detective, and it's really good. He did a really good job. But I'm one of the few people that really like the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies. I thought those were fun. He was a great Watson.
He's all right. I like, my favorite is Road to Perdition.
Mm-hmm.
when he finally comes out for that final reveal and he's got all those scars on his face because the glass thing blew up when they escaped the first time, I was like, man, he looks disgusting. That was good.
He's also one of the few Hollywood actors that hasn't gotten his hairline redone, hasn't gone to like Turkey and gotten all that. He's kept the widow's peak. Like his hairline's so far back. And it's great, especially for like the role he just played where he's like a detective that's been through it all. It's like, yeah, you can believe it. This guy's been going through it.
Very nice. So you excited for Christmas? Do you have big plans?
I mean, just normal Christmas stuff, you know. Open presents, Christmas dinner, watch a movie. Gonna see Nosferatu on Christmas Day. Hope that's good.
That's a big plan. That'd be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Are you excited for this UFC this weekend?
What is this weekend? I haven't even paid attention.
Oh, you're the UFC guy. I just know that I know Pantoja was last weekend.
Yeah, Pantoja, that was great. That was a great fight. But I have no. Is there a pay-per-view this weekend?
I don't believe it's a pay-per-view. I think it's a fight
Oh,
night.
this is the Colby Covington fight night. Okay, yeah. I don't know any of the other fights on the card. I can't remember, but I know Colby's fighting Joaquin. So could be potentially fun.
Very nice. Anything you got coming out with the streaming or the YouTubes that people need to know about, Dylan?
I'm working on stuff, but I don't have anything up yet because I just got internet, so I haven't been able to upload anything. But yeah, you know, stay tuned.
It'll be happy.
Yeah.
Very nice. Who else we got here? We got Aaron Sparrow.
Don't you always?
We've always got Aaron Sparrow, and we've
I
still
try to be
got
here every
Neil
Saturday that I can.
Doomface on Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, it's still up. We're just under 19.2 right now. So you know, the main campaign has ended, but we're still like slowly picking up subscribers. And Renzo just turned in about 12 pages of layouts that I approved. So we're full steam ahead. It's looking really good. It's coming together beautifully. Renzo is killing it. Some of the expressions that he's drawn, like some of the, I mean, like a Kevin McGuire level, I think, of expressiveness and just kind of like comedically selling the bits. I'm really loving his current stuff.
Very nice. So you do have a Christmas tree up, correct? Because you got it out of storage.
Do have a Christmas tree up. Yep. Needs a
What
few
have you
more
done-
a few more little embellishments, but it's basically
Yes.
there.
What have you done to nerd out your Christmas tree?
Oh, no nerd stuff yet. Just that's what I'm talking about. Those are the embellishments that are needed. So I'm just trying to decide what's going on there this year. It might be a G.I. Joe infiltrating the tree this year.
But you got to have gremlins, though, right?
I can do like a Gremlins like Christmas scene elsewhere in the like on one of the tables. I can set up some snow, some Gremlin carolers. It'll be nice.
I love the carolers. That was great.
Yeah, NECA made like 2 different packs. So you can put together like 4 carolers and have them all there with their little books and their little hats and scarves and then NECA always does something stupid, like they give one of them a Christmas sweater that actually has like NECA on it, and they're like, nobody cares enough about your company to be like Team NECA. Like you guys just don't have that kind of rapport with your audience.
So normally, I think your worst Gremlins opinion of all time is that Gremlins 2 is good. But now that I think about it, your worst Gremlin opinion of all time might be that you don't like the scene where they're in the bar drinking.
No, just tonally, I don't like it. I enjoy it, but what I'm saying is that it doesn't match the tone of the rest of the movie, which is fine. But I'm saying you can't poo-poo Gremlins 2 because it is essentially, if you like that scene, that's what Gremlins 2 is. It's just a whole movie of that scene where now it's all like Looney Tunes style humor.
If you like Will Ferrell in Old School, you have to like Will Ferrell in a starring role because it's more Will Ferrell. I think I just like him in a little bits and pieces.
That's not the same thing.
What? That didn't even make sense.
By the way, are we all going to give our favorite Jude Law movie? Is that a thing?
Go for it, brother. I like Jude Law.
Okay. I will say that I really enjoy, even though I don't like the movie overall, I really enjoyed Jude Law's character in AI. And I thought he did a brilliant job in that. And then it's a small performance, but he's actually really good in Spy, which is a surprisingly funny movie, considering the people involved.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy, very much like a Will Ferrell. I like her in bits and pieces, but once she's like the main thing, it kind of throws me off. But Spy was actually really good. I think Statham saved it.
Oh, Statham definitely saves it. I still crack up when at the end where, because he's just good at everything, right? Like, and he'll tell you how good he is. But just at the end where she goes, "That's a nice suit," and he goes, "Made it, didn't I?" And you're like, what?
So what's going on, Sparrow? You gonna go see Nosferatu for Christmas? That sounds like a
I
good
can't
plan.
wait. Can't wait to see Nosferatu. I am so excited. I don't know if I'll do it on Christmas, but I'll definitely do it the day after Christmas.
Do you got big plans? Or are you just going over to the friend's house?
Yeah, no, we're just gonna do the typical Christmas thing. No huge plans. Just just enjoy a very traditional Christmas.
Man.
Yeah, I that's it. I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not watching Skeleton Crew.
It starts out pretty. It's fine so far.
It's Disney Star Wars. It doesn't exist.
Andor is good, dude. You're totally missing out.
At some point I might watch Andor. It might
You
happen.
should. It's actually pretty darn good. And even Silvani's been telling you this for 2 years.
Yeah, but Silvani watches all of it. He doesn't enjoy all of it, but he watches all of it.
Exactly. Man, next time, if I'm in America again on a Christmas, this is what I want to do to celebrate. I want to get. Do they still do the 10-pack of tacos?
Oh yeah,
Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
I'll totally do that. I want some Taco Bell. I'm missing it right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Del Taco too. You can get a Fiesta box, and you can mix and match tacos and burritos, in different variations.
Wes, you have not been here in a while. You have no idea how much Taco Bell has gone up in price and gone down in quality.
Quality is just terrible.
The 10 taco pack is like $20-some now.
Yeah.
And yeah,
dude.
If you're in California, it's more because our idiot governor artificially raised the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20.
And
So
Taco Bell's
fast
still on
food
the
is just-
cheaper end of fast food compared to other places.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. You go to Chick-fil-A or you go to
yeah. Even McDonald's. Jeez.
McDonald's is insane for crap
what you
quality
get.
food.
And Wes, you got kids to think of now, man. Don't do it. Please.
No.
We're your friends.
and
We love you.
Remember back in the day when McDonald's, they would have a little special. You get 2 Big Macs for $2.
Yeah.
yeah, they don't even have now a McDouble is like $2.20.
I think my McDonald's has a cover charge.
Yeah.
2 drink minimum.
Yeah, bouncer up front. They're like, nah,
Yeah.
Jim, you're not cool enough.
You got no
Like,
sleeves.
Get this homeless
You're not
guy out
gonna
of
do
here.
Exactly. Well, very nice. So we do have Jim.
Hello.
Things have not turned around, but you didn't almost die this week.
No. I speak it. You guys are talking about food. I'm starving. We don't have a fridge right now. We're having problems. We're having problems in this house, but we always do. So my fridge died. There you go. There's the death.
But it's a new fridge.
Yeah, it's like a year old. But we have a lot of people in the house, and I don't know. It ended up where I think Wes. I think I told you, but we are having work on the house, and my son turned the electric on and off and on and off, and I think it might have fried it. That's what probably did it. Didn't even think about it.
You got to unplug it first.
Yeah. He should have looked into that. I was just, he didn't even tell me after the time he was, turning off the power. I'm just doing things, and all of a sudden, all the power went off. But yeah, and we're stuck.
Didn't you almost kill yourself playing with power one time?
Yes. And in fact, he was trying to see if there was like a live wire at one point, and he ended up touching this outlet deal, but then touched the wire, and he got shocked. He fell over, and I thought, that's my son. There he is, just touching wires and things like that. So I taught him well. And Gary, and the deal, I do have an extended warranty. The problem is, I called the extended warranty. They told me it's still under manufacturer's warranty. So then I called the manufacturer, and they're dicking around because they never do anything. And we're just going to have to get a new fridge. I want to try to get what's mine. It's what I'm doing here. And it's not working. We paid for the warranty. But
That's bullshit, Jim.
yeah. So
You know what we used to do?
What's that? So
I grew up, in the country, in the heartland of America, Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, they would have like electric fences if you had cattle or other types of livestock. And so we're at our buddy's house, and we all like hold each other's hands, and we're having my buddy Mark grab the electric fence, and we're having a good time. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But then we decide to have my youngest brother, Derek, hold a metal pole to ground us.
Oh, yes.
And then we
good.
grabbed it, and I know
That
what it feels
grounds,
like
yeah.
to think you just had a heart attack. We flew in the air.
My
not a good
uncle
idea.
has horses, and I used to go stay with him some summers, and me and my cousin was always screwing around with me. He's the one who like stole things from my grandmother. My grandmother always blamed me. But at one point he's like, go run. He, like out of nowhere, like when you're a kid and you just start running. And all he was doing was pointing me towards an electric fence, which I ran in and got it right on the forehead and the chest. And I got it, it was just more of a shock of hit. Well, it was a shock, but it wasn't.
You were grounded.
Huge,
You would have blown
it was
up.
more of the, oh God. Yeah. So I ended up doing that. But even in the H8R Dave was mentioning, I could tell this, that I was talking in Spider-Man, my Spider-Man review this week, and I didn't even think about it. The idea that we joke around about me almost dying. And first time I rode a bike, my dad got me on a bike and he's like, come on. And he's just yelling at me. He was so mean. And he went and we were in these apartments and there was this like sidewalk between these two apartments. And I didn't know how to stop. I jumped the curb at the end and got hit by a car. That was the first time I rode my bike. So that might count as something.
Wow.
There.
The eight deaths of
and then my dad was screaming at me. It was my fault. And he was apologizing to the guy. Didn't even check if I was
sorry,
okay.
hit your car.
Yeah. My
Son's
dad
such a
immediately
jerk.
was upset because he thought that I was going to have to, or he was going to have to pay for damage or something. That's all he cared about. I'm like laying there. I'm okay. The bike was like under the tire. I'm just laying there. Yeah. What a jerk. But yeah, so there's my story.
Somebody asked me if I've ever gone cow tipping. I have not.
No.
But my little brother did, because we're out in the country, he did accidentally pee on an electric fence once.
Oh,
And that was funny.
Ooh, don't whiz on the electric fence.
No,
That's
he wasn't
Prince
paying
Stimpy said
attention.
that. Oh man.
He thought he was just peeing near a fence. And he didn't
Yikes.
realize on the other part of the chain link was an electric fence. And it was pretty good. Love that.
What kind of noise did he make?
Oh my.
It was shorter than that, but it was very close, Sully.
I don't
But no, never been cow tipping. No, don't know that it actually works, but perhaps it does. Any other good things happening? Big things happening, Jim? You got any dirty songs people need to know about?
Oh, and lots of dirty songs. But yeah, usually a dirty song a day, some holiday themed songs at the moment, and that sort of thing. And then some comic videos. I have my favorite, what's it called? Indie comics video coming today. That'll be out today on the channel. And then some other reviews and things like that.
So in your culture, Jim, what does leaving milk on the porch mean?
Leaving milk. Well, I haven't. Leaving milk on the porch means that you start ramming, right? And then she's like almost there. And then you boom. And then you leave. You split and tell her she's some, degrading term. I don't want to get demonetized. That's I don't know. I'm making this up. I don't know what milk on the porch is, but that's what I would think it is. A little back shot, as some say, is what it would be.
I thought it meant like open for business. Like, come on in.
No, it's an end move, I would believe. It's when you finish, and also give it a slap, right, and then you get the hell out of there. Right? I'm working on the song as we speak.
So it's kind of like the Arabian sand shark.
Exactly. Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
The pot of
Exactly.
gold.
The
And
glass
Dylan's
bottom
eyes
boat.
are huge. He's never heard of this stuff. Like,
No.
you have much to learn,
Dylan,
young
the pot
man.
of gold.
He used to
is-
blame.
Jim, explain to Dylan what a.
Arabian.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
glass bottom boat's the real one that you got to
Wow.
watch.
Oh no!
Oh no,
Okay.
dude! It's
Last
the
bottom
morning.
boat's bad, but I do enjoy over near Docks Way, the Cleveland steamer as well. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. That's it.
The
But there
rusty
is-
trombone.
If you go, one of my only things that I've ever added to the Urban Dictionary was a one called the Pittsburgh Platter that you can go and
jeez.
check out. You can check that one out. That's for you, Doc.
I need to see it.
And it's
All right.
actually a real life thing that a
legitimate
guy
thing.
did when he was at Pitt. So yeah.
Once on a trip to Texas, our friend was reading all of the terms off of Urban Dictionary, and until the point that we had to beg him to stop because we all wanted to throw up.
I'll tell you, Aaron, the Urban Dictionary is what the dirty song man calls the Bible.
Yes.
What happens? Yes.
The fake book.
All I can say is don't give a girl a hot breakfast unless you don't want her to
Yeah,
call you back.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It gets rough.
Don't look up a Portuguese breakfast. I can tell you that much.
Oh, my
Definitely
gosh.
not. All right, so let's get beyond that and get over to Rev Sully.
Hello.
You're still moving. You're almost
Yes.
there. Still on your phone.
Almost
How's
there.
everything going, Sully? Did you have a good
Going
week with
well.
your funny books?
I did. I had a great week with my funny books. I got a bag of them, 6 of them. I bought at my local comic book shop just the other day, and we'll look at those at the end of the show because they're all good. I don't buy bad funny books. I just read them digitally. I read
You
a lot of
bought
bad
Blood Hunt Red Band.
I did, didn't I? Yeah, but we live and learn, Wes. We live and learn.
Don't say you don't buy bad comic books. It wasn't a great comic book.
Yeah, it wasn't bad either in hindsight. I mean, it had great art. It was a concise story. It was just, it was a publishing stunt, and I fell for it. And, and that's, that's that, I could get them in bags. I got them in boards. They're going to go in the long box. No one's going to see that again for another decade or so.
What did you think about Green Lantern this week? I was a little surprised. I was not expecting that issue.
I loved it. I mean, just like that. I like that they've kept the artist on it for so long, or Harmonical, and just the colorist is just out of his mind. What a great sci-fi over-the-top action book. It is so much fun. It's high octane, and give me more. Please, there is more coming.
That's what I said at the end.
Give me more, baby.
I meant more of the actual story that he had to. It seems like he was made to stop that dead in its tracks and him son.
Uh-huh.
Dylan, did you think he wrapped it up a little quick there?
It felt like it. I didn't expect this to be the finale either. I was like, oh, a new issue of Green Lantern. Right? I was like, oh, this is the finale.
Still
to
good,
this whole
though.
thing.
Yeah,
it was still really
good.
good. Yeah,
But some of the
was
things
really
could have
big.
been expanded. You wanted to know a little more of what happened. But hopefully the Green Lantern Corps and stuff like that is where he's going to tell some of the other stuff too.
it would have been cool if DC would have gave him like an extra large issue. For
Yeah,
this
that's what I
finale.
wanted. Yeah,
That's what it
He's
needed.
getting one.
something like even a special that's even extra long.
He's getting one. He's getting a fractured spectrum with art by Ken Marion. That's coming up next week, I think. It's a one shot, and then there's like a Green Arrow, Green Lantern one shot.
That's next week. I think the fractured deal is a couple weeks from now or whenever. But yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, but I'm psyched for it. Like all the supplemental stuff too. I'm a sucker for a one shot too. Like I bought the Superwoman one shot with the variant cover because it was the same $5.99 cover price.
And
yeah.
To get on Dylan's good side too, if they had a special, they probably could have had Philip Kennedy Johnson do part of it too. It would have been cool for him to kind of wrap up some of his War Journal stuff with Jeremy Adams.
That's a good idea.
That's me getting on Dylan's good side.
Dylan, did you read the Superwoman special?
I did.
Yeah. And that happens.
It's a special,
It is what it is. I mean,
I can't believe they published a book that spotlighted every reason I thought making Lois Lane Superwoman was dumb in the beginning.
Yeah,
Because they kind of masked it in Superman with Dan Mora.
right.
I kind of forgot about why I think this is a bad idea. And then you get this special like, oh, yeah, it's a terrible idea.
But it did show the most important thing ever in the Superman book, that Lana is a drunk. It showed that. at one point.
She's
Remember
probably,
that Lana
the most fun.
she got those pounds.
You literally have Superwoman, Superwoman, and Supergirl, all three of them, having a latte on the top of a statue, talking nonsense. I was like,
And where's Power Girl? She works for Lois.
There's also one just really weird part where like she's saving someone from a beach and there's like an extra small child. Did you guys see that? It looks really weird.
She's
She's like
really
holding an
mini kid.
Yeah, I did a double take. I was like, what is going?
Yeah.
It was so weird
The
looking. But yeah, that issue was. And then we got the big reveal at the end. But
Yeah. That was
Books don't have editors anymore, do they?
No.
They just put them out.
And books also have 5 editors. Like look at a Star Wars magazine from Marvel. They literally have like 7 assistant editors working on all of those books.
You'd think that like one would be good by accident.
Yes,
It
lots
It
of
hasn't happened in
probability.
Star Wars.
You would think so, but that doesn't happen.
Well, last but not least, we do have Doc returning. You were being domesticated, Doc, last week and couldn't join us for our Geek Talk.
Well, I had my one cousin that I had to go out to Jersey for to go visit. She's having a baby. I guess it's her 3rd attempt. But she's finally looks like coming to terms. So so went to go and visit out there, and that's pretty much it for me. Nothing else. But I'm basically on vacation for the rest of the year now.
But you're not ready for Christmas.
Fuck no.
You've decided to wait until the entire malls and all the shopping centers are completely full, packed to the brim with overpriced product to go out there and go shop.
You think I'm actually shopping at a mall?
Oh, you're just an Amazon man now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't even bother. I don't leave my house.
Just to go to Ollie's. That's the only.
Yeah,
the only reason.
because they
You're buying
always,
your family discount product.
Good stuff cheap.
uh-huh.
That's true.
Also, a lot of Disney product, and that's what it should be.
A
Good
lot
stuff
of-
cheap, and a lot of Disney shit.
Yeah. The number of I've gotten probably about 25 Marvel Legends figures there over the past 2 or 3 years, and none of them have cost me more than $10.
Which is, where they should reasonably be in a sane country. That should be the retail price.
Exactly. Like the
You can't even get 10 tacos for that much. That's a great
exactly.
deal.
The Bucky Barnes Captain America figure, that one was only $750. So I was like, yeah, you know what? The Electric Nachos Daredevil Legend on card one, that one $750. So
You bought the girl Daredevil figure?
it was $7.50, and I like the design.
Yeah, I bought it when it went down to $6.98 at Target. Like when they
Yeah.
clearanced it out. I picked it up because I do like that design. It's like the story, whatever, but I like the design of that costume.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
guys
it's
are part of the problem. That's why the Electric
Yeah.
Nachos is still fucking Daredevil.
Are we
Dude,
part of the
guys
problem?
are buying-
Because we didn't buy it till it went clearance. All
yeah.
the people that paid $25
Still,
for it.
a
they're the
purchase is a
problem.
purchase.
Yeah, Red Band.
It had already
Sully
been
is
It's already
Aaron.
been purchased, Wes.
Yeah,
It's
you
it had
bought
already
it-
been sold 4
You
times.
bought it cheap because it didn't sell. So you
Oh.
still.
Yeah, it had
Good
already
for you guys.
sold 4 times down till Ollie's. So that's why I got it that cheap.
He's not wrong.
Oh, very nice. Let's give a little shout out to the newest Patreon backers. Thank you very much to Not Robot, the protector of the Silicon Ward. Really appreciate you supporting us on Think Critical Patreon, as well as JT, aka the Justice Thrasher himself, the protector of Ironclad Heights. If you'd like to support Think Critical YouTube on Patreon, not only do you get awesome podcasts and exclusive videos there, but you also get a superhero name, you get a city to protect, and you get to be a wonderful part of the Think Critical family. Really appreciate that. We've got some peoples here that have spoken out already. Jagron 2. So what was your Shawn Michaels Lost My Smile comic award of 2024? So which single issue made you lose your smile most? That's got to be Dazzler, right?
Dazzler. It's gotta be
Dazzler.
Dazzler
Yeah.
number one?
It's gotta be.
I feel like
Not that I expected anything good, but
no.
damn.
Dazzler, I think, is quite possibly the worst comic to have ever been written. And I'm trying to not have recency bias on it.
Mhm.
It is irredeemable on every conceivable level. The art was bad. The story was terrible. The logic behind the plot was just nonsensical. The action was horrendous. And then Jason Liu wrote quite possibly
Jason
the
Lowe.
two or Low, whatever the fucking
Well, he hit a new low, I can tell you
Yeah,
that much.
I low.
Oh, the Lou is a bathroom term.
he wrote the 2 worst song set of lyrics to have ever been in comic books in the same issue. Like,
I
There
didn't
we go.
think
We
that
got-
you could be that talentless when it comes to writing a song that you're basing off of another song.
Yeah.
Like you're not even having to write the music; you're just having to change the lyrics. How can you not do an okay job at that?
He even said at the back end song, he said, I listened to a Taylor Swift song, so I knew how many words to put in it. I'm like, yeah, that's not the greatest way to write a song.
Well, that's how you write your dirty songs.
From a
isn't
dirty
it?
song, man, what you do.
Yeah,
The
you know.
Urban Dictionary.
So it sounds like a lot of people think Dazzler number one. I imagine that Dylan didn't read Dazzler #1. Do you have a pick for a comic book that made you lose your smile? Maybe you had some expectations and ended up being absolutely terrible?
I don't remember the issue, but probably the beginning of the second arc of Captain America, because the first arc was whatever. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. And I thought we got.
Oh, when he goes
Captain
to the
America.
theater.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
That's
when I stopped reading it.
Yeah, same here. Because like the first the first arc was just meh. It wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. And then that
Boring.
was terrible. That was so bad. That was where I was like, oh, okay, so Captain America is gonna be bad. This is gonna be a bad title now. And I dropped it. That was where it's like all the misfits come here, and this is where we all, congregate and we have stand-up comedy and musicals, and we're all freaks.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I forgot about that one.
We're super theater kids.
There was some better.
Yeah, that's where you want to see the Sentinels tear the roof off and just start blasting people. And they're like, they're not even mutants. And you're like, I don't care.
Yeah,
They're mutants to me.
kill all of them.
The Sentinels have been programmed to eliminate theater kids, and I think that no one objects.
Oh no,
There was an
Yep.
issue
That
of
issue was
Gotham
rough.
War that I thought was right up there with them.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
I
there
can't remember if it was
Bangor
Catwoman
issues,
or
too.
Batman, but there's like a moment on the rooftop that was really terrible.
The Luke Cage gang war tie-ins actually really disappointed me because liked the writer and was really excited about it, and then when it came in, he was in a mecha, and it just got wacky.
That's the Rodney Barnes one, right?
Right? Yeah. Because I was looking forward to that. Because there's other things like Fire and Ice kind of ended that, but my smile was long gone before that. Last couple issues, and but yeah, that Luke Cage, anything in that, every tie-in in that gang war was pretty bad except the one. I can't. What we liked the one. Me and US when we were reviewing, I can't remember.
I liked Wolverine Blood Hunt.
Yeah. That was.
Did I
good
like
stuff.
something inside the game?
Yeah, I
War?
thought that we liked one of the things. I don't even remember. It was so bad, but
I think it was
don't
Wolverine Blood Hunt. It was the
yeah, I think I'm
tie-in
thinking
to
of that.
that event. It was
Yeah.
the only. I think it was the only,
It was the only good
tie-in
thing, yeah.
to any event this year that
This
was
year, yeah.
Yeah.
that was
There
acceptable.
you go. There you go. We'll get into some more bad comic books. I don't think we've spoken the last time about Dazzler, but Callum says, I hope 28 years later does well.
Hope it's
I think
good.
it will.
I really like 28 days later, but I don't like 28 weeks later.
I don't hate
But I'll check
28
this
weeks
out.
later, but yeah, 28 days later is fantastic.
It does. If memory serves, did Danny Boyle not have as much involvement in 28 weeks later?
I don't think he had any.
Yeah, I think that's the reason, and he's back for this one.
Mhm.
Okay, I feel like that's going to be the thing that makes this.
Then
one
the lady
work.
that did the Marvels, I think, is doing the next one.
Yeah, but hopefully she's learning at the feet of Danny Boyle.
Yeah.
Because I've often said, like, you need people who are accomplished to instruct people who are new.
Hold on,
So it's that's whether
Nia
it's in
DaCosta?
editorial or it's in film. Yeah.
I have questions.
Yes.
How is there another one after 28 years later? Is it 28 centuries later? and now,
decades, 280 years. We'll get to.
okay,
28 score later.
so 28
That's like
years later,
400
28
something years. I don't know.
yeah, 28 decades later. So we're going to be in the year 2300.
Yeah, and then you'll Danny Boyle's
With
head
laser
that's
guns?
in a jar will come out on its robot body and return to the franchise, and everybody.
Yeah, like I feel like there's going to be cyborg zombies in that.
But I love me some 28 Days Later. That version of zombie that's absolutely like fast and vicious and strong rather than being kind of slow, I thought was awesome.
it looks like they're
Yeah.
actual zombies in this one. It looks like the virus is mutated and they're not just the infected
they
anymore.
slowed down?
They actually do look like they're. There's that one guy that like rises up out of the grass, and you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely a zombie.
Next up, Calvin says that Lord of the Rings anime is another reason why envy-driven feminist women should stay out of male IPs.
How about we just keep women out
Aw.
of everything? Period.
So I haven't seen any trailers for this. It's the What is it? The Rohirrim?
War of the
Rohirrim.
Where,
Is there something
girl
wrong with
boss.
it? Does it not look good?
Well, they
It's-
went
I noticed
back and
that
they took
The main character was a girl.
a character that doesn't even have a name in the in the appendices. Like it's basically just mentioned the daughter of Helm Hammerhand, and not even given a name. And they built the entire War of the Rohirrim with her as they named her Hera and put her in as a central character in it. She's a warrior. I haven't seen it. I don't know. I don't know how it is. I've seen some people panning it. I saw Midnight's Edge say that he actually didn't feel like it was a girl boss movie at all. So I'm not sure how to feel about it, but I can just say that the trailers did not excite me, which is weird for something Lord of the Rings, something that has like anime style art and that just to like leave me cold. I was just like kind of like, okay, this is a thing that exists. I didn't feel like like I hated it. I didn't feel like I was excited for it. It just was.
Yeah, the trailers didn't look very good, but on Rotten Tomatoes right now, the critics do not like it and the audience does. So whatever that tells you.
That tells you probably pretty good.
That's a good sign.
Good sign. Well, I saw Transformers 1 this year, and I definitely learned the age-old lesson. Don't believe the trailer one way or the other. Just because it's a bad trailer doesn't mean it's going to be a bad movie. So, Callum says, if Rachel Zegler does appear in Marvel, it'll prove that Kevin Feige is truly stupid and desperate, as well as Hydra Cap, which he will adapt. I'm expecting to see Hydra Cap. And Aaron, do you think the Rachel Zegler in Marvel thing is just bullshit clickbait?
Yeah, I think it's just clickbait from one of those sites. I don't think that there's any truth to that. I think she's done such damage to the Snow White movie with her PR, and just like everything that she does is just a PR nightmare. And I think that Disney, even though I think they set her up in a lot of ways to go out and do that. Like, go out and make sure that you talk about how this isn't your granddaddy Snow White. She's not going to be pining for true love. She's going to be, a warrior and a leader. Like, go out there and sell that girl power. Yeah. And then when that didn't work, and she did it, she sold it too well. She turned us all off to it. Then I think they threw her under the bus. I'm sorry.
I don't think so. I don't think Disney set her up. I think she's doing it intentionally. She doesn't want this movie to come out because she knows how bad it is. So every time they're like the everything dies down and they think that they'll get a quiet release, she'll go out and say something fucking retarded just so it drives the few remaining people away from going to see it when it comes out. Because if it comes out and nobody sees it, is it actually even a terrible movie? Nobody will know.
That's as good a theory as any. I mean, it just
like she's trying to make this bomb so nobody sees how bad she sucks in it.
You shall see. I'm not expecting to see her in Marvel though. I think Aaron is correct. Sean Douglas Sutton. Jim reminds me of Dennis Miller. Both are funny.
Thank you.
What is Jim like the poor uneducated version of Jim Miller? Or Dennis Miller?
I think I'd be better doing football analysis than Dennis.
Wait, because his analogies are too complicated for you.
It's like, this is like the 1813. What? Like, now it's a goal line stance, asshole.
Don't we remember when Dennis Miller did Monday Night Football?
Yeah. Oh, it was crazy.
Now that last play was like reading Kierkegaard in a porta potty.
He's like, that play reminded me when the Prussians ended up going to him. Like, get out of here.
I like Dennis Miller. I think he's hilarious.
No, I like Dennis Miller. I'm just saying that his analogies are a little too smart for your average football viewer who just wants to watch
he's too smart to be compared to Jim.
I haven't seen a defense fail like that since Waterloo.
That's why I figured you were actually. That's why I figured you were actually comparing him to Jim Miller, the former Bears quarterback.
Listen,
that ended up doing.
Jim is the Dennis Miller of dirty songs.
Yes.
Well,
I went to WVU, for crying out loud. That is a high institution of learning. So take that.
Oh my God, you were almost doing a Scott Steiner promo right there. I go to a highly educated university, and when I talk to these rednecks, I gotta dumb myself down.
Do some Steiner math next.
That's a pretty good compliment, though, Jim.
Thank you, Sean.
Dennis Miller is hilarious.
Thank you.
Very nice. Callum says, I'm glad that Japan isn't being nice anymore towards Western activists who fix their manga and race swapping characters and dialogue.
Well, good. I mean, I read a good line from a Japanese Twitter account that said, Japanese manga an anime is made by and for Japanese people. Like, why don't you get that? It's pretty simple.
I just like
the first person that started really changing anime and manga and trying to make it more Western was Aaron when he worked at Tokyo Pop. He went out of his way
Yeah, he did.
to take the original
I heard
meaning out
that.
of everything. It was his
That is
goal.
not true.
I'm putting
That's
it on
not
the
true at all. I
Wikipedia
tried
right
to
now.
I tried to keep the original meaning unless the license holder actually told me to do something different, which happened on a couple of occasions. But otherwise, it was always like, okay, how do we get
That's
across what they're
Lead
what the writer
characters
is trying to do
trained.
here? Yeah, but I was never like, oh, they're eating a bowl of rice, but Americans won't understand that. Let's call it a donut. Let's call it a hamburger. And it's like, but it's clearly a bowl of rice.
Very nice. Well, it's good for them. They should be protecting their culture. If people want to consume it, they should appreciate the culture itself.
Yeah, that's for me. Like the greatest part of loving anime and manga is embracing the Japanese culture that's inherent to it. Because we're American, or we're Canadian, or or wherever we're from.
What, speaking
Very
of
nice.
embracing Japanese culture, Wes, when is Gray coming back on?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
We've
Weird
had
time
the time
difference, yeah.
change,
Yeah.
and we're starting an hour later. And I
Mhm.
think it starts at midnight in Japan, and he's got a family of youngsters there, and it's just too late now. Hopefully, if Donald Trump does what he just said he was going to do, I think yesterday, and get rid of daylight savings time, which I think if he would have just run on that, he would have won in a landslide. We won't
We
have
all
this
hate it.
problem anymore.
Mm.
Everyone hates daylight saving time, except for
Yeah.
Jim, because he hates
Mm.
change. He wants to keep.
Yeah. But then if you change it back, then there's no change. So then I'm in a conundrum.
Yeah.
So, but before we go, the idea of changing the anime and the things like that. I mean, back in the day, there was a point where the Japanese companies would actually change, say, like a Final Fantasy or whatever, because they thought we were too dumb to actually figure some things out. So, they have their thing too.
Like when
I
they
mean, that's
made the
probably
Final
true.
Fantasy movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they thought we were all dumb to pay money, but and I did. So.
I did too. It
Baja.
was a beautiful movie, but man,
Yeah, it was. Boy, it was a
incomprehensible.
wreck. It was a wreck.
Baja Cat, aka Skeets. MJ Lois Comics are set on turning their female supporting character love interest into girl boss superheroes. Steve Trevor superpowers when? Steve Trevor is not a girl. You can't
Yeah.
see it.
White
Trevor's
male.
They
dead.
killed him. He's dead.
And he's a white guy.
Yeah.
So
He's
the last
straight.
thing they want is another white guy with powers.
His power is privilege.
Yeah.
I wish some of these white guy writers that hate white guy characters would realize that they should step out of the way as writers, and I wish Tom King would realize that he's taking up a space that a brave woman could take up. So he should quit. He should stop writing altogether and give that
Yeah.
space to a female writer.
Or he should just stop existing.
All right, Dylan, what's worse? Is it MJ as Jackpot? Is it Lois as Superwoman? Or is it Electric Nachos as Daredevil?
I'll say MJ, because at least the last Superman issue was really good. I actually enjoyed
was.
that. So I'll say MJ. And they're like at first when Elektra was Daredevil, it was interesting. It's gone on for too long. That's I feel like the main overstayed or welcome is Daredevil.
Exactly.
Like at first it's like
First should have been a year until he got out of prison.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She was holding
It
up while he
should've
was in prison, and
that's-
now
yeah.
for some reason they're duo Daredevils, and it's stupid.
That's why I
Also-
think that Elektra, she chose to be it for a reason, and actually it was kind of dupe mad at first, but that kind of got convoluted. But
Yep,
still,
she needed to murder him.
yeah,
Be
she was
like
gonna
her-
murder him, yeah.
something.
Yeah, so
between-
it actually had a setup and actually had a reason, whether you like it or not. It did, but the others just happened. It was
Yeah.
just,
MJ is the
Jagron.
worst.
yeah. MJ's the one.
Jagrod 2, worst writer Dennis Camp for me, ran away from the Ultimates.
Dennis Camp is
Not a writer.
no.
No.
He's,
He writes
an
things, but he's not a writer.
no. He's like he's so lovingly retarded that I can't even really just hate him. It's like beating on a special needs kid.
Jim will
What
do
is
that.
lovingly. Oh, what does
Yeah.
lovingly retarded
do it.
I
mean?
don't know. It's like,
he
adorable.
thinks
because he's
thinks
so-
he's
It's simple,
he
Jack.
thinks he's smart,
Yeah.
but he's just so like
I'd rather read the Ultimates than
writes
I'd
a
rather
short
than
bus.
Gail Simone's Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah, you got me there.
he's
Like,
the guy that
it's
doesn't.
rough.
But it is like making fun of a kid on the playground when you
Yeah.
read the book, you're just laughing at how bad it is.
Like he's the guy that like
All right.
you know right now he's standing there outside and he sees a bus go like a school bus go by. And he goes, "Wow, they got really big." And then you realize it's because he wrote the little one.
The half bust.
All right. Well, Jim, who's your worst writer?
It's still probably Tom King. Dennis Camp just does his thing, and it's goofy, and I don't like it. Some people do, but Tom King actually ruins things. He actually it almost feels like he's trying to. He goes in a book and says, "What can I mess up here?" And then afterwards, you end up having to repair things. So he's my
or just declare it out of continuity. Like
yeah. I mean, that's almost his Batman run. They almost say now it's like, well, it was his own thing and stuff like that. Well, it's still in continuity, but it's just he just likes it's like the everything I don't like in a book that he just tries to do, and I don't need that.
Federico De La Casa, worst comics in 2024, like all or most. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go around the horn. People are going to name off what they thought there was the worst Marvel comic that they experienced all year. Then we'll go DC, and then we'll go through Indie, and we'll all name them off. And then I'm going to write them all down. That way I don't have to think about my worst comic books of the year list. Oh, wait. I've already started working on it. But we're going to have some fun.
I'm going to do your homework for you. Yeah.
Can I say real quick, my favorite thing about Dennis Camp was recently when, as super progressive as he is, he revealed he doesn't know any Mexicans. Doesn't have a single Mexican friend. He's just like, can anybody out there translate some words into Spanish for me? I'll pay you.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. you don't know a single person.
All right, fellas.
Spanish, huh?
Is it great? Sleeve McNagle, Dylan, do you think the Superman movie will be good?
I'm optimistic right now. I really like the casting for Superman and Lois. I really like the last two movies James Gunn did. I thought Guardians 3 and the Suicide Squad were both really good. So I right now I'm leaning towards I think it'll be good, but who knows? It's James Gunn. You never know what you're gonna get.
Did you watch the end of Peacemaker though? When we saw the appearance of Superman.
Yes. But here's the thing. If you've noticed, I don't know if any of you guys watch Creature Commandos, but with Peacemaker and Creature Commandos, I've noticed that there's a lot less, I guess, sort of quality checking with James Gunn's writing and his TV shows and his movies. He just throws everything at it. Everything. And there's no joke where it's like, this one probably not going to land. Let's cut it out. It gets put in with all his shows. But with his movies, it seems he's a bit more selective, where it's like, maybe this one won't hit. I won't have that there. With the shows, it's like just go. So you'll just have 5 minutes of just the most unfunny jokes you've ever heard, compared to the movies where it's a bit more better.
So
better
do you
batting
recommend
average.
Creature Commandos? Because I haven't watched it.
I watched the first 2 episodes. It's okay. I wouldn't say it was awful, but it was okay. I thought G.I. Robot was pretty funny. His whole thing is he thinks everyone's a Nazi, and he's just like, "Are you a Nazi? I'm going to kill you." And that's his whole thing. He's constantly trying to find someone's a Nazi and he's going to kill him. And he's pretty funny.
He's a 2016 Marvel writer then.
He's a metaphor.
Yeah, but his bit has been pretty funny. But other than that, I like Rick Flag, and the rest of it's the Life of Frankenstein's all that.
Are like Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, are they divorced and do they pick her?
Sort of. I won't spoil what's going on with that, but they're separated right now, and they give a whole sad backstory with her, and it's
All right. Jose the Beast says it's because Steve Trevor is not a beta soy. Says a lot. Yeah, it's weird. I'm tired of the throwing mantles on everybody. It absolutely sucks. Some supporting characters should just be supporting characters.
Yep.
But really appreciate that. Really appreciate the support and getting your guys' feedback. Now let's talk about the worst comic books of 2024. We promised it, and we finally gotten here. Doc, you have a negative point of view on comic books. You stopped really supporting new comic books altogether. But thankfully, I'm your Huckleberry, and I've been having you read terrible comic books all year long for worse than me. Is there one that stands out, maybe besides Dazzler, because we did kind of roast that one a little bit, that you really think was absolutely terrible?
I'm gonna have
screwed your pick, Doc. I know you're gonna say
I know, because it was you know what, the next worst one would have been I think it would have been Exceptional X-Men number 3. Was it number 3? I don't remember. The one where they just randomly start. No, it might have been number 1, where they just, her and Emma just started randomly fighting in the stairwell, where Kitty and Emma just random fight in the stairwell whenever Emma's trying to leave, and then they get some sort of a They get like a dance studio to be their danger room.
Yeah.
And
Dancing's
then
dangerous to me, Doc.
and
Right,
then
what you know, right? What you know. Clearly, Eve Ewing has seen a dance studio before.
yes,
So,
and
that's
then
where we'll set it.
and then out of nowhere, while Emma and Kitty are arguing about how to what training the students need, very ultra convenient, a bunch of demons appear to attack them out of complete left field, and everybody doesn't somehow just turn to Emma and go, "What the fuck are you doing? We all know what you're doing. You're trying to prove a point. This is totally out of left field. The only person that's responsible is you." And no, like a fucking head trauma patient, they have to actually act like it was a reasonable thing to not assume Emma did it. I feel like that was possibly the worst comic. Although that first issue of NYX, where Kamala Khan gets really big and walking on the bridge, but her cell phone also gets larger with her, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is the most amusing part of that. Whenever she turns monstrously large, but so does her cell phone.
Unstable molecules, Doug.
Yes,
That's right. You got a
unstable.
phone made of unstable molecules. It's not that the writers are dumb.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then whenever X-23 just randomly turns into Batman in that comic and just acting like Batman the entire time.
I think the latest NYX is possibly worse.
I went with, series in general, and like I knew that Dazzler was going to be everybody's pick. Dazzler is the pick. Wes screwed us off, but I'm just mentioning that there's two series from Marvel that really I should have realized was Thanos, that Thanos mini by Christopher Cantwell that was just god awful. Some of these things that I looked up and I was trying to remember books. People don't even remember they even existed, but that was really bad. But another one that is my top pick would be that Punisher series by David Pepose.
Oh God,
that was so bad, and it came off of
wasn't...
Jason Aaron's deal, and it was it was Joe Garrison. Nobody will remember that name, and he's popped up since in some other, I forget what issue or what thing it was that I didn't want to read also, but that I thought was one of the worst things. That book was so just, it was nothing, and he got in fights with people. Then it was done at 4. He claimed it was always going to be 4 issues, which was bullshit, and just the whole idea of that coming off again, the Jason Aaron thing, and people just wanted Frank Castle back, and then you get this Joe Garrison guy. It was just lame, and ended up where I'll admit David Pepose with this Punisher series made me not want to read Space Ghost, which actually is pretty good. It took me a bit to jump on that because of Wes, but that was god awful. And even stuff like that Sentry book, like when they ended up trying to change everything, characters, like those were really, really bad this year. A lot of stuff. White Widow was really bad. There's a lot of like stuff that people just forget about because they were so bad.
I forgot about White Widow. That was terrible.
Yeah. There's a lot of really bad.
Was that
this year.
White Widow's on the top of my
list?
list.
Was that the one where it was literally just a Gilmore Girls plot?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there was like a Ponzi scheme type of Amazon deal going on, and
that had to do with like a bakery in town.
Yeah. There was
a
like
corgi. Was there a corgi?
I think it was. I think it actually
was a
was
corgi.
a
And had
candy
the cutesy little little like drawings on a board of like telling you who all the characters were, and because
there was
White Widow's such a cutesy character.
Oh, it had everything in that.
Do you remember this character was a brutal assassin? Do you remember that? But like then they just handed it to somebody who's like, I saw the movie.
She was a super adaptoid way back into Avengers Annual #2 by Brian Bendis. That was an incredible standalone issue, and she got redeemed somehow. What a character arc. She's come so far.
Yeah. White Widow's got to be up there. I mean, the fact that they just literally stole a Gilmore Girls plot, like that was all it was. I'm like, holy fucking shit. My girlfriend literally just watched this episode.
Yeah, it's Gilmore Girls, but with none of the charm.
Yes. Somehow it's less charming. And honestly, that mom character is really obnoxious to me.
Very nice. Sparrow, did you have one that really stands out for you? That you're just like, I can't believe Marvel's even publishing this.
It's NYX.
Yeah,
I can't believe that NYX is a thing. I mean, at least Dennis Camp's Ultimates is funny to point and laugh at. You know, it feels like a parody. It's ridiculous, and you can just like laugh at how just incompetent it is. It's like the Room of superhero books. You know, you can find a way to enjoy aspects of it because it's just so it's so ham-fisted in everything it tries to do. It is clearly just a guy smoking a bong and then saying to his friend, it'd be cool. What if Hawkeye was like two spirits, man? And then his buddy going, yeah. And then it goes into the book. And there's no structure, deep. There's no pacing, there's nothing. You know, it's just it's all stream of consciousness nonsense. But yeah, no, it definitely has to be NYX for me because that is consistently unappealing, uninteresting. Actually, like all of the characters are grating and annoying, and I can't stand it.
NYX is a choice work. I can't believe they that one's the Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzig, right?
Yeah.
And supposedly they were considering putting those guys on Spider-Man. ASM.
Oh gee.
You know what? Do it. Tank Amazing Spider-Man. Let's see how low the bar can go. Marvel.
Well, I feel like it would actually be an improvement over Justine Ireland after this most recent issue of ASM.
Really?
Uh-oh. Those fighting words, Sully liked that issue a lot.
I like that issue. I didn't mind it one bit. That Gleb
You're wrong.
art was so
No. Gleb Melnikov's art was, as I said, like I rate it, you know, the Gleb Melnikov art 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. The problem is the book's only a 1 out of 5. You can figure out how that math works.
Well, good art.
It's negative stars.
Good art can elevate a mediocre story any day of the week with me, and that's a mediocre story. And it didn't really disrupt what Joe Kelly's putting down. And
what is Joe Kelly putting down?
That many more deaths to come. The 8 deaths of Jim Werner.
Yeah.
Did you see the Spider-Knot? Did you see they're going to put Spider-Man in the Juggernaut armor? Did you guys see that?
That's it. Yeah.
Or are they going to put Juggernaut in the Spider-Man costume?
Or that
I think Juggernaut wearing the Spider-Man costume's even funnier.
And it does explain the series. Spider-Knot.
I don't think Juggernaut could get the Spider-Man costume over his third leg. Remember when she was
I need Sully to explain this to me.
It is
once you go Juggernaut, you are physically unable to go back.
Unstable molecules.
All right, explain this one to me, Sully, because I'm not getting it. We finally saw Peter Parker Spider-Man win. He surprised her. He got a licking. That means he won the battle. And then he died anyway.
How?
What was the point of winning?
Yeah.
It's just I don't have an answer.
It would make sense if it would make sense if that's like a new teleportation device. You die and then go back. But why are you allowed to lose and kill him?
You know why he won? Because he lives to win, Wes.
I want to know how he actually
like
died.
Paul Stanley before him.
Yeah. Did he just have an aneurysm
with memories?
Or did he do himself in? I mean, they don't show it. He just starts screaming, and it's just what you say that. What if by the end, because she says, "Surprise me." What if by the end, and also she says, how will he lose? She said, he'll give up. Oh, you'll give up. What if he doesn't give up and they just end up just staring at each other at the end because he didn't get surprised. She didn't get surprised. He didn't give up. You just end at the end like just looking at each other. These things are bullshit. They don't make any sense.
The happiest person in Comics Aficionados is Dylan right now because I didn't bring up Spider-Man as a topic. He didn't have to read it.
Yeah.
I didn't touch Amazing Spider-Man this week.
I still think it was better than Joe Kelly's the issue. So Doc, you can yell at me, but I still think Joe Kelly's were awful, were barely readable. So
nothing to scream home about. Dylan, did you have a worst Marvel experience for you this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ultimates number 2 because the first issue was fine. It was like it wasn't anything special or anything. Cool. It was just like
Midas deal, America
with the White House.
It was a punchline, right?
It was terrible because the first issue was fine, and then you go to the second issue, and they're fighting in the White House. This guy gives this whole grand gay speech about how capitalism in America is like the worst thing of all time. It talks about how greedy everything, and it's terrible. It's so bad. There's not like a single page or panel of that comic that's good.
And then Yeah, through it all, they're yelling, "We're going to save America. We're going to," and then you get the worst cliffhanger surprise ever. It's America Chavez. It's
Yeah.
so bad. Though, Dylan, don't go on Twitter and say that you hate that.
Don't say
issue.
that.
Please,
People will get
because
mad at you.
you will get attacked. Because people out there, I got like 3 fights this week. People end up saying that's the greatest issue of all time. That was what they want in their comics and things like that. It's ridiculous.
It was
Bots.
so bad.
Yeah, I know.
That's what made me not check out any other Ultimates after that. Because like I said, the first issue was okay, and then the second issue was so bad. I'm like, all right, I'm
You
done.
missed Gamma Island with the Legion
Oh,
monstrosities.
You missed the
Those
best issue of all
Yeah,
time.
I have no
There's your
idea what's
best
going on
issue.
with Ultimates.
Oh, it's so great. It's so fun. Actually, and just to make you laugh, Dylan, the one person who I was arguing with this week ended up saying they love that second issue because it was very subtle and not in your face. And I was like, what the hell are you
The
talking
least
about?
subtle issue
Holy
I've ever
moly.
read.
Ay, ay, ay.
Ugh.
Man.
Yeah,
Oh, this
yeah.
Ultimates talk ran off Sully.
Yeah, he's too positive.
I think his
Yeah,
phone
we're mocking
probably,
his
like,
choices.
glitched out. Yeah. Well, we're not watching it. He said his worst comic book of the year from Marvel was White Widow. I forgot about that one. That one is
Mhm.
uniquely terrible.
There's so many bad
Really bad
books that
book.
come out now, like that just like are vaporware. Like you read them and then they just disappear out of your mind. Like it just they don't exist anymore because they were awful, but they were also bland. They weren't awful enough to make an impression
That's
and
true.
have you
Like the
remember,
Ultimates.
yeah.
Yeah, that like exceptional X-Men from Eve Ewing, Jim, is really, really bad. And that new character, Alejandro, like the walking mood ring guy,
Yeah, you like
he's worse than Paul.
Yeah. Paul's pretty bad. I mean, Paul is so bad because, again, it's the biggest book. You end up taking away something everybody wants, and you shove them down your throat. It's like such a bad character. Pretty bad. Human walking mood ring. Yeah.
What do you
this
think,
entire
Sully, is
X-Men
exceptional
run.
on your list?
On my list, I didn't
Sully's
put any.
list.
Oh, on Sully's because
He's got a
I
note.
didn't put
I
any
got
He's
notes. I got
Jesus
extensive
Christ.
notes. There was White Widow. You know what was awful was Sabretooth War. That it was a 10-parter on to wrap up Wolverine. And it started off so good, and then
Half of it was good, and then all of it at the end was bad.
it shit the
Yeah.
bed totally,
Yeah.
and that just scudded me. There was like Alyssa Wong's Captain Marvel. That was
Yeah, that was
fantastic.
bad. That
Yuna
was really
Yang.
bad.
Avengers Inc.
Self-insert.
Yeah.
Avengers Incorporated was terrible. We even none of us mentioned the end of the Krakoan age, Rise in the Powers of X, and Fall of the House of X. Dead X-Men by Stephen Fox. That was terrible. The Resurrection of Magneto. That was awful. All I can
Some
hear.
chuckles.
Oh, dude! All I can hear are the screams and cries of the trees that died to make the paper to print these shitty comic books. Druids out there are pissed off. I tell you. There was Jackpot and Black Cat. Who could forget that piece of crap? We did. We already memory.
I'll even tell you. I'll just interrupt you a minute. There are some books that are so bad that I actually, as I was thinking of them, and that Spider-Punk mini, I actually sat there. And I'm like, did that end? Like these books come and go, and you don't even know that they're over. I'm like, oh yeah, that was just 4 issues. I went and looked. And I'm like, oh yeah, that thing, and that's when you know something's bad. That usually you'll get 5 or 6 for a minute, like that Punisher. It ended up at 4, and David Pepos is like, oh no, it was supposed to. And then you look at other tweets, it's like, I got this thing going. I have stories for 3 years, and then all of a sudden it's 4, and it was always supposed to. But yeah, some of these books you don't even know they ended.
Yeah, like Gods by Hickman. I mean, we forgot about that already.
Yeah.
That
Was
had
it
one
as
good
bad
issue.
as the other ones though?
That
It
was
was
just
good issue.
boring, I thought. Yeah.
It was,
It was the Eternals. It was Shang-Chi. It was Wakanda Forever version. That in your brain, like in your eyes and out your brain instantaneously.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was It was like really pimped as this is going to be the next big Marvel title with the best creators. They actually gave us
$10
Hickman
first issue.
and shitty. Yeah, and it was not even a red band. I didn't touch it. Go figure. But also to answer the super chat that started the show, what was the one issue that wiped the smile off of my face? And it happened too, off of Mr. Positive here. And it is the top worst comic for me from Marvel is Ultimate X-Men by Peach Momoko. and I went into it last week a bit. But
How
issue
dare
number
you.
4 specifically, it's where I figured out the game. I figured it all out. It was the jig was up, and I was like, "This
And now,
is I'm out." I dropped it. It was on my pull list, and I love Peach Momoko's art. I was expecting this to be a really fun book, you know, and I was looking forward to like a new X-Men in a new universe, but I figured out that it was so misandrous, so anti-man. It's the opposite of fun. It kind of, this book hurt my feelings in a way. I was like, there are no positive men in this book whatsoever. And it was just like, this is terrible. You know, how did this get past editorial? Like, who greenlit this? And this is, you know, so that's and critically speaking, that's what we do here. I mean, it's a beautiful book. The art in it is really good. I like her panels, the progressions, her color choices. I like the cultural ciphers that are at the end of the book. There's so many good things to it. But then that whole misandrous angle takes everything away from how good this book could have been.
Man.
So, yeah.
I wanted to bring something up because it was talked in a bit in the chat. The idea of why do we keep reading bad books if they're bad, and why do you keep it? It's, you know, some of us here, first off, we review them, so we read them because of that. But I'm guessing that we'll have a best of the year as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I just wanted to point out that I think people are thinking that we're just here to
just
crap on things. Yeah. So the idea of all this is, you know, we do have to keep reading some of these awful books. Doc's being forced to read some of these awful books. He wouldn't be reading.
Well, if it's Batman or Amazing Spider-Man and they're awful, or Uncanny X-Men or X-Men, like especially the bigger titles, you kind of have to keep on.
You have to.
Them.
And again, like I have a bunch of, you know, podcasts where I try to review just about everything. So I do keep with even some bad stuff, but eventually some of these do have to just be pushed aside. Like I don't, you know, want to torture myself, but we do give things a chance. And when they're bad, they're bad. That's a good deal.
And a lot of us have free access to things. So it's not like we're spending money on, you know, some of us aren't spending money on this stuff. You know, we're getting to read it in our buddy's shop, or we're getting to like check it out. And for me, you know, being that I love the X-Men, I love Spider-Man, you know, I love these characters. I just like to keep tabs on them. It's the same reason that like I keep tabs on wrestling. It's something that I love. So, you know, it's like I keep tabs on you know, all my favorite wrestlers that are wasting away in AEW, even though I can't be bothered to watch AEW for more than 5 minutes. So hopefully that's a good answer for you guys.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that we need to get out there? I'm shocked no one talked about Amazing Spider-Man, but I guess we did hit on it earlier when we were busting Sully's balls. We're talking about how great this week's was.
We forgot about Gang War.
Jim, we never even brought up Spectacular Spider-Man from a really good writer. I love Greg Weisman, but that book was awful.
And here's why I didn't put it. That's one of those books. I only read 2 issues. I actually had it on my list, but then I took it out because I can't really say that it was all bad just because I read those first 2 issues. That's one of those books. That's when you know I really hate something, is I just bail. We bail on it. And we do. And we've been talking about it on our Patreon show that we do on your Patreon, Wes. The idea when we get to it, we want to talk about every book. And we're just like, yeah, I'm not reading that. And we start yelling at each other because we just can't take them. So it does happen where we drop books.
Well, that's because Jim was our Venom War correspondent.
Yeah, you said I was the Venom War correspondent.
He skipped the entire event. I had no idea what happened.
You sit there and trash on me for liking certain books, and then I'm like, well, we're not going to talk about that. I don't read it, then you trash on me for not reading it.
Yeah, it's going to happen either way. I busted Sully.
Oh, I know. But again, you know, I'm the Venom War correspondent. I think I was missing in action. I think I disappeared.
That's another book that was awful. I read the Venom stuff leading into it. It was so bad I didn't even check out the event after the first issue, and it was just all about like wrestling or something.
Yeah, I kept trying to go back. The thing is, and Virtual Reality Fitness said that Venom War was decent. You had to have been, you know, pretty much involved in the Venom stuff before that. And the Al Ewing Venom, I hate. I can't even read it. So it was already set up for me to just be done.
Yeah, Al Ewing has not had a good year.
No.
He had Avenger Inc. He had that Venom War that nobody was talking about. And he had that little short story in the DC Pride issue with the Blue Star Man. That was rough.
Yeah. But yeah, that Spectacular Spider-Man, we went in thinking it was going to be fun, cool, at a point where a lot of people wanted more, a separate thing from Amazing. Ultimate Spider-Man people are loving, and we get another, oh man, this will be cool. This will be our Spider-Man in the deal. And no, it wasn't. It wasn't at all.
All right, so you had a full list. Did you get through the entire list of
Pretty much.
your grievances?
I'm pretty sure, and White Widow was on the top of that list too, but after Ultimate X-Men, which was my biggest disappointment. It's a nice book, but no, I ain't buying it, literally.
Well, let's move over to the distinguished competition in DC Comics. While they've had a much better year than Marvel, in my opinion, it hasn't been all puppy dogs and ice cream over there. Dylan, you're the big DC guy. Is there one DC series that's really stood out for you? Like, I can't believe this is this bad.
I did issues for this because
Perfect.
if a comic's bad, I just drop it. I don't, so I don't really stick around to see if the whole series is bad, but I can make assumptions. And for me, for DC, it was Wonder Woman issue number 8 because it's the start of a new arc, and Tom King occasionally can accidentally write a good comic. So I'm like, I'll check out the start of this new arc, see if he does that. He didn't. It was terrible. It's the one where she's got like the lasso of lies on her. And
and she's eating rats and is being interrogated.
Yeah, she's being interrogated, and she's got like the 1950s housewife thing with Steve Trevor, and she's getting Bible verses quoted at her, and the old dude's just pouring wine on her. It's so bad. And she never tried to break out of the lasso because her mom told her all of the Amazonian lassos are indestructible. You can't break them. And in the end, her mom's like, but you never believed me, so that means you can break out of this. And then she just breaks out of it. And it's like, it's so unsatisfying how she gets out of there. And also, my biggest complaint with Tom King is how much he wastes talented artists. Dan Sapir gets nothing cool to draw on this issue. He gets nothing cool. And it sucks because Sapir is one of my favorites at DC right now. He's really good. But he gets nothing cool to draw on this, and he wastes them. And it's Tom King.
And the narration awful from the Sovereign, awful.
Yeah, terrible. And you also get like Cassie and them on interrogating Sergeant Steele on Themyscira, and that bit is terrible as well. Like you never get any escape in this issue to something good. It's all bad. Because I read like the first issue of the Wonder Woman series, it was bad, and it was like, all right. And then new arc starts, like I'll check out the new arc. Bad. I'm like, okay, I'm completely done with ever checking this out.
Good idea. What else did you have? You
You
said you had issues. I assume it was more than one.
Well, I was talking about in general for like the top because we have the Independence Studio, but I'd say Zdarsky.
Oh no, he falls out. He was saying Zdarsky's Batman. It's gotta be Gotham War, right?
Gotham Boar.
Gotham
Boar. Here, that's
Dylan taken down by the new ISP.
Oh, the new Wi-Fi. Kick it, Dylan. Kick it.
Look at where it froze him too. He looks like Sylvester Stallone in Rocky. He's like, yeah.
Hey, look, you want to get married or something?
Nothing is over.
Good stuff.
How can you ask me that, Paulie?
Dylan can't explain anything to me now.
Jim, you're also a DC guy. What's your DC worst?
I have a bunch, but start with Tom King. Tom King and the Wonder Woman book. And it's one of those things, like we talked about a couple of those side books for Marvel, but DC had a couple of really big books that were just garbage. And Wonder Woman, I think, and one of the reasons I almost didn't put it on the list is because of the art. And people might say, how could it be some of the worst if the art's that good? But just the whole series, when you're trying to set up this big villain, which has a cool concept, it has almost like, he actually had something clever that he could kind of use. It goes with conspiracy theories that we all hear, and almost like the Illuminati and things like that. But all you do is have him be an old guy who is talking to Trinity in the future after he already lost. Then when you think about what happens, he does nothing. I mean, at one point, Wonder Woman goes to a space mall, and he doesn't even react. I don't even know what's happening with the Amazons right now in Wonder Woman. I keep making the joke, but she's pretty much OJ. She says she's going to find some info about that Amazonian killer. She hasn't done shit. She just sits around, and everything is just Tom King's tropes. Tom King's little quirks that you go with, and it just ends up leading up to Steve Trevor being killed. It's just awful. It's just an awful book. He tries to think, everybody who likes it thinks it's so smart and it's just not. And it's boring, and the art's great, but it gets wasted in issues like Dylan said. But I want to put Flash on there. Cy Spurrier's Flash was just pretty much unreadable for most of the year. I hated it. I hated reading it. I hated reviewing it. Didn't know what the hell was going on. But just side books too. Harley Quinn. I'm one of the few, it seems, Harley Quinn fans that are around, left around. Teenie Howard's Harley Quinn was god awful. It was so over the top bad. And Harley Quinn is jokey, whatever. But Teenie Howard, Catwoman was funny, but that was bad too. But she's just terrible. And then my last one, I had one of these side things that people probably will forget about or already have is that Speed Force book by Jarrett Williams. Was just awful.
Nobody read that.
It was just so awful, and it was supposed to give a little bit more of a focus on.
They had my boy
Wallace
Roundhouse
West
that I love so
Avery,
much.
and Roundhouse showed up, and he wasn't even good in it. It just, that book made no sense. At one point, you have Mr. Terrific in it, one of the smartest men who doesn't even know how to take a selfie or say it was something with him with a phone, not knowing how to do it just because he's old. But he's, pretty much a tech guy. It was terrible. It was awful. But those are my picks.
Dylan threw in Gotham City Sirens, Dylan Arrington.
That was god awful. That was so bad. And it was weekly, very weekly. But yeah, it was really, really bad. That was Power Girl was bad.
What was the one that had Pa Kent and Ma Kent with drag queens? And
that was Fire and Ice. That had a couple issues in this year, and they were bad enough that you could put it in. But it was like 2 issues, I think, this year. So I didn't put it in because of that, because I think I put it in last year. And Hawk Girl, a lot of people are bringing up, that was fully last year, so that's why that's not in there. It would be
really bad book.
But Power Girl, it's weird. Power Girl is one of those books that's really, really bad. But it's one of those that it's just easy to kind of just shove away. Like, you don't get mad at it, maybe, but it's bad. It's really bad. And I'm telling you, Birds of Prey, awful. Outsiders by Lansing and Kelly, awful. There were a bunch of bad books, not quite as many as Marvel, because Marvel put out more, but there were some stinkers. There were some real stinkers.
Absolutely. Sparrow, you got a DC book that just resonated with you with just awfulness?
Trying to think, there's so many things that I read that I didn't enjoy, but I don't know that anything. I mean, it's got to be Wonder Woman. It's got to be Wonder Woman, because it's one thing to have a bad book come out that you can forget. The problem is they push Tom King to such a degree that when he comes on and he ruins a character, and that's all he does is ruin characters, it just sort of resonates, and that stink stays on it. It's like Wally West can't shake that stink. Batman hasn't been able to shake that stink. Once you let Tom King come in and put his grubby fingers on your character and write his depression porn that he demands that we all pay for, the character's done.
Man, I can't believe nobody brought up Gotham War, though. I just think that was awful in Batman.
You think that's worse than Tom King?
I'd
say it's just the reverberating, cascading failure of Tom King.
I think it was just
continuing to resonate through a book that he ruined.
The Gotham War, the biggest problem is that it felt like it wasn't Batman. The idea of, kind of changing him up and saying all the other Bat family characters, including Nightwing, would be like, yeah, that sounds like a good plan there, Catwoman. It's just stupid from the get-go and was bad, but I don't know. Tom King,
this newest Batman story, though, Jim, and Dylan might know what I'm talking about too. Like the last 2 issues where they've gone in this new direction with Chip has been worse than even Gotham War.
Yeah. Gotham War was bad, but yeah,
that bad. I haven't checked out the latest 2 issues. It's been 8 issues since because that's one of those books where I jump in randomly to see has Chip got it together, and then it's always bad.
You should wait for Hush too.
I'll tell you one thing, and I was not a fan of Ram V's Detective Comics either, but I wouldn't. It was, and I'm telling you, I always say I warned all you and everybody. I remember the day that I said it, and R.I.P. Skip, after we got done, actually yelled at me about how great it was, and everybody was giving me shit. And I warned you. I said this is going to be convoluted bullshit. But with the deal of it, I don't know if everybody is like me now, because when you had Ram V, it had a clear distinction between Chip Zdarsky's Batman. I'm starting to get Batman and Detective mixed up with Tom Taylor's story and Chip Zdarsky's. They all swirl in my head already, but I'm kind of a dummy. But in that, it's just, the Chip Zdarsky is just, it's eye rolling, some of the shit that he comes up with. And it's going to be like the end of his run too. Seems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan, I have a feeling next year we're going to be talking about Jason Aaron's Absolute Superman now that I've read the second issue.
Yeah. It's not looking good. That was the
told you
worst from the
guys.
get-go.
I
Well,
told
yeah.
you guys that was going to be awful.
To be
I
fair,
tried to
though,
warn you.
everyone thought it was going to be bad. I'm gonna
true.
say that you're not Nostradamus for predicting that.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty safe bet, right?
Yeah, because he had done good at DC so far, but it's like, where's his first misstep going to be? It's like, from the design, it's like, it's probably going to be Absolute Superman, and it's been bad. I think it's going to be horrible next year. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the first one gets canceled.
Did you think Absolute Superman 2 was better than the first issue?
I put them kind of on the same.
I thought it was
wavelength.
a tiny bit better because there was less Krypton.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I kind of forgot everything that happened in Absolute Superman number 2 because I just read it and then forgot about it. Like,
He uses a dust cape to save himself many times because
Do
Superman
everything.
needs a Deus Ex Machina
Mhm.
device.
nice.
Yeah.
By the
Well,
way,
as soon as I heard that, like, the S is going to be for servant, and it's like they were blue collar. I was like, oh god,
The middle
Oh, God, I know
management one was
exactly
the
what
best
this is gonna
one.
be.
The middle management was
Yeah,
the
that
best.
we like that.
I cracked open
Somebody
that,
came up with that. That's
Yeah.
stupid.
It's like,
I
it's
cracked
gonna be
open that
hard-hitting.
Absolute Superman #1 Noir edition at the store yesterday, and it's like it's not even black and white; it's black, white, and red. It still like uses a color there too, so it's more of like that's cute, but it's unimpressive. It's a
All right,
publishing
Doc.
gimmick.
You're more of a Marvel guy. You got a DC book that stands out that you never want to read again right now?
I feel like it's got to be Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
The nonsense with, I don't know, evil King Trump, whatever the hell that guy's name was.
The Sovereign.
The sovereign.
That's it. And it's just poorly done. Everything about it is poorly. It's a bad idea. It's executed even worse. It's right up there. There was oh god, what was the one we had to I had to read a couple of weeks ago for you? It wasn't Gotham City Sirens. I don't remember it. I mean, I Fire and Ice was just so bad, but I realized that's last year.
How to Lose a Guy Gardner in 10 Days.
Wait, Rolling
I did
Dodge makes a
Detective
good
Comics
point.
recently.
Rolling Dodge makes a good point. Wasn't the Alan Scott book this year?
It was.
That's pretty.
Yes,
awesome.
it was.
Yeah, not all of it, but some of it.
It
Yeah.
docs.
Yeah.
I mean, we can also go with Big Dumb Batman.
I
It's
like
not
that
terrible.
book. It's
It's
I think it's fun.
It's fun. It's fun because he's so dumb. It's just
Yes.
so everything's so over the top and stupid that like I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah, that's it's kind of like Dennis Camp's Ultimates. So over the top and retarded that fuck it, why not? Like it's the same reason I love All-Star Superman and Batman and the Boy, or All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder. Batman the Boy Wonder. Fuck it, who cares? Like the goddamn Batman, Crazy Steve. I love that book because it's so bad.
With Absolute Batman, Snyder's not trying to get anything across to you. He's not like trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
Unlike these camp with Ultimates.
Yeah, he's just trying to entertain in
Yeah.
the most bombastic and over the top way possible.
Yeah.
and
like
it's
he made the
working. I don't think
Batmobile's a dump truck. So it's like
I think he thinks it's cool. I think it's ridiculous, but I appreciate it on that level.
You know what? I can go with absolutely everything Mark Waid has touched this year. It's bad just because Mark Waid's attached. It makes it unreadable.
There you go.
I don't know why when you said Mark Waid is attached, immediately in my head I thought like a skin tag.
Yeah.
It's a human skin tag.
All right, so
was-
you got notes. What's on your list that we haven't got to, or we did get to?
Well, I think Jim actually took a screen grab while I was flashing my notes.
Yeah.
Totally ripped
Damn
off
it,
my
Jim.
homework. You were looking over my shoulder, weren't you, kid?
I was acting like Gabe, ruining everything.
Dude, sus.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
But on my list of DC comics that were just terrible this year is Outsiders, Speed Force, which was, gosh, that was terrible. And I'm a huge Kid Flash fan, so I'll give Wallace West a fair and decent shake any day, man.
Wide berth.
And dude, yeah. Red Hood, The Hill. I'm a big Jason Todd fan.
That book was written like 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah, but that came out this year, and it's fair game.
Bad.
That was terrible book. You know what? Because this is Catwoman by Teenie Howard, only because I had turned the corner with her that like on 9 Lives. It started off really strong. Introduced me to Stefano Raffali's art, his line work. Really impressed with that. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm giving Teenie Howard a chance. This is pretty decent. And then
First mistake.
it shits the bed at the end, too. Or should I say the cat box? You know, and that ended up getting Harley Quinn, too, as well. But Batman by Zdarsky, because he's such a better writer than this. He's doing a really, really awesome job on his own IP. It's called Public Domain. It's a really fun book over at Image, and it's so well written. It's just so well done. But then and Wes is always telling me you got to go back and read his Daredevil with Chichetto, and
First half of it, yeah.
But Chip Zdarsky can be doing so much better than this just Grant Morrison kind of retread stuff. I mean, tripping through the multiverse, losing a hand, falling from orbit, right? I remember. But yeah, I mean, Zdarsky could be doing a heck of a lot better on the flagship title, and my number one is Flash by Cy Spurrier. That's just terrible. I'm a huge Flash fan.
Jim, I thought you liked an issue 4 months ago.
No, it's the last 2 issues. The issue before this passed, it seemed as if they kind of got to him. When he finished that first crazy long arc, it felt like somebody got to him at DC and said, hey, we know we got rid of Jeremy Adams, to kind of make it like Jeremy Adams, because it had some of the family involved. It was kind of fun. And then that went all the shit the next issue. So I'm back off. But it's still a little better than the first arc. But it actually felt like, hey, this guy wants to have a little fun with it. He wants to do the family stuff, but it all fell apart. So.
Yeah. So
I was duped.
No thanks. I tried. Yeah, Cy Spurrier, no thanks. It was awful. Yeah, you're not Grant Morrison, kid. Sorry.
A lot of writers want to be Grant Morrison, it seems.
Just be yourself, man.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And if you want to see Chip Zdarsky do something good, go read Avengers Twilight over Marvel. It was pretty good.
That was a smash. That was really, really good. Exactly. Zdarsky could be doing much better on Batman, and he's not. Why not?
So I guess we'll give indie comic books their due as well. I'm sure there have been some bad indie books out there. Sparrow, you're more of an indie guy than anything else these days. Was there an indie book that stood out for you as just being awful this year?
Scarlet.
Yeah.
Scarlet was my most hated indie book this year. Because honestly, a lot of indie books, it's their own IP. And I think that when it's the creator's IP, what they do with the characters is less offensive to me because there's not an established history. That's all theirs. So when you hand a character like Scarlet, even though it's a new universe and you're reestablishing history, but you hand it to somebody like Kelly Thompson and she just turns in her typical, it feels like it was a script that she had lying around for something else, maybe for Black Widow. And then she, years old that never got greenlit. And then she just adapted that to Scarlet. There's nothing about it that's really Scarlet or Jinx or any of the characters. There's nothing recognizable in it. So that was probably the biggest disappointment because it was a character. Like when they said there's going to be a Scarlet book, I was like, cool. And they were like, by Kelly Thompson. And I was like, oh no. And it turns out that absolutely my fears bore out.
You didn't see halfway through her first script, she was told then it wasn't a Gone with the Wind comic, and it really upset her when they were writing Scarlet. And But I the problem with me with finding something with indie stuff, unlike the big two, because they're just kind of thrown. There's so many books they're thrown out there. You don't have a real connection or want to follow characters or whatnot. If something's bad on the indie side, I will not go past one issue. So there's a lot of things I was thinking what would be, but Scarlet's the one. And like Aaron said, one of the reasons I think it is so bad is because it was part of a universe that was really killing it. And then all of a sudden that's like, oh God, you know, this is the first really big stinker, the first stinker for it.
Yeah, you're eating your steak, you got your baked potato, it's loaded, and all of a sudden there's like some moldy cheese on the corner. You want me to eat that too?
Man, I don't want that.
No, they just
They're
come
like,
back,
"It's
like
blue
drop
cheese,
a big.
sir."
You're just like going in for the potato, you know, you're digging in, and then they just drop a turd right into the middle of it, and you're like,
And then punch you.
Yeah.
Just because.
Donkey punch.
So Dylan, did you make it all the way through Scarlet, or did you like give up after 2 issues?
I give up after the first issue. I read the first issue. Like, this is awful. I don't need to be reading anymore. And that was my pick, was Scarlet #1 for my the worst indie comic of the year. That was terrible. They took the Arashikage is one of the coolest corners of the G.I. Joe universe. They're like, we're going to introduce it to you with Kelly Thompson as Scarlet. That's how we're going to do it. And it had the weird thing. It was like, yeah, it turns out Scarlet and Jinx are close. They used to, after mission go and
Too close.
kick back and have some beers. And it's like, it's weird. The dialogue's really bad. The whole Scarlet and her superior talking was so weird. Like, just the entire issue was bad. None of it was good. And it didn't feel like G.I. Joe. It didn't feel like Scarlet. That ending where Scarlet just comes in and beats the shit out of some Arashikage ninjas was
That happens in every issue.
Yeah, no,
stupid.
it does.
make the Arashikage chumps right out of the gate, you know, so that
Yep.
you can elevate the
Yep.
character who you've
That's
not.
an awful trend.
It's the terrible trend of not making a character earn anything.
Yeah, no.
It's like, I
yeah.
want you, you know, so let me just throw this at them and they'll just conquer it easily and then you'll know how badass they are. It doesn't make them look badass. It makes the people that they're up against look like chumps.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then comes the secret girl language of the besties.
Yeah. They got their own sign language. I remember that.
It makes you want to drink. Like that's how bad that was. It was just like
It's ADL.
it was the Black Label announcement. It's like, look at all the great talent we've got on the Energon universe. And Kelly Thompson, like when Black Label was like the best writers in the business, and Kelly Sue DeConnick is there too.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I should revise my previous term, and it should be the Kellys of the comic book
Kellys?
industries instead of the Stephanies.
I used to say that was the Velmas because all of them had that Velma
They all got the
haircut.
haircut. Yeah.
And the
everybody was like
glasses.
Stupid glasses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they might. You know what? No, I cannot say that part. Never
So
mind.
Dylan, did you read any of the Jason Aaron TMNT stuff? I don't know if you're a TMNT guy.
I read the first issue, and I just recently picked up issues 2 and 3, but I haven't read them.
Interesting.
So-
I definitely want to hear what you think about that one.
Yeah, I thought the first issue was fine. I didn't hate it.
It's all right. The second
Yeah.
issue's better,
Okay.
and that kind of goes downhill for me. I don't know about worst, but it got unappealing by the 4th issue. Let's put it that way. The Donatello stuff I did not enjoy at all.
Yeah, because I thought the first issue was fine. It's just like, oh, I'll check it out. I just recently went to the shop and got issues 2 and 3, but I have not read them yet, so that's disappointing to hear.
Well, we'll see. Maybe you'll end up liking it a whole lot more than me. It does happen every once in a while. I'm like, this book sucks, and it's always like, best book of the year.
You heard it here.
Jason Aaron does that a lot, though, where he can start out good and then it just
Go read his
always
Punisher. It's
does
perfectly
that.
fine for 3 issues.
But that's
Then
the
you
thing.
get the 4th one, you're like, oh, never mind.
Off-World's been consistently good. It's like
Yeah.
a year in between issues, but Off-World's been consistently good at least.
Well, I think it's because every draft he tries 7 different ways to make the Waynes killed by an alien in the alley, and the editors keep sending it back and saying no, because it's
Maybe.
the only thing he knows how to do. He hasn't managed to fuck up Batman's origin with
What
this
Tom
book
Taylor's
yet.
job is right now.
Well, yeah, I mean that's Tom Taylor's job right now, but that's Jason Aaron's whole shtick. He needs to break their origin, fundamentally alter the character, and leave them completely irreparably harmed. And he hasn't been able to do that, but I think that's the reason why it takes a year between issues, because he does 7 different drafts that fucks up the origin, and the editor somehow keeps saying, no, stop it. And then he finally is like, fine, I'll write an actual issue, and like a temper tantrum, and then starts it again.
So I got one for that. I only read one issue of this, and it was so bad and laughable. It's probably the worst concept I've read in a modern comic book in quite some time. It's called The Lawful from Boom Studios from Greg Pak, and I think the artist is Diego Galindo. But the concept is they live in this like utopian world where everyone is subservient to the government and the powers that be, and every time you break the law, like you grow a horn, or if you steal something, you grow a tail, and you become more monstrous as you go against like the world order. And it was the dumbest fucking concept I've ever read in a comic book. I felt stupid for making it to the end, Aaron. I was like, why did I read all this?
I don't blame you. I also agree with everybody in the chat that's talking about how pretentious and awful Distillery is.
It's not a comic publisher. It's a collector publisher that pretends they're comic books.
That's right. That's right. Because it's run by somebody who hasn't had an idea since the early 2000s. So remember they were going to go all into NFTs, although they weren't describing them as NFTs, but like we're going to be doing digital collectibles and everything that's already out of date. So $9 for those books, those collectibles. The problem with a collectible is there has to be demand for it.
Nobody's demanding anything from Distillery.
Whatever they are. Does anybody else have any other books they could put up for worst indie book of the year?
Yeah, sure.
What you got?
I got Man's Best by Pornsack Pinochet. I didn't mean to say your name.
Best name ever.
Sorry. But it's just like, it was kind of like We Three by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. We've taken 3 lovable animals, like a house cat and 2 dogs. We've weaponized them and sent them into space, and it just loses all cohesion by the end of this book. There were a couple of books that I read by Critical Role that had this, fantasy, sword and sorcery kind of things, but they were just so badly written and so badly drawn. I literally I don't want to say, like, I hate books that are drawn on like tablets and look it severely. I mean, why even print these in the first place? It was a huge disappointment this year for me was Sean Gordon Murphy's Zorro, Man of the Dead. I was super.
I read one issue.
I read one issue. Yeah, I was all into it, and I was done after one, and which is odd. I love Sean. I love talking to him at cons. He lives in Maine, so he's always coming to the Boston cons, and he's such a nice guy. And I love like a ton of his previous work. But this one was just like, this was awful. No thanks. There was this one called Adventure Man Ghost Lights, and it was a 2-issue mini. It was written by Matt Fraction with art by the Dodsons. And it looks great, but it is literally one of the most wokest books I've ever read in my life. It is all about what we derisively term as box checking, and it's all girl boss, and it's all that purple pink color of Everqueer, and it's all bad. And I gave it a chance because I love I usually love Matt Fraction stuff. Man, 10 years ago that guy was on fire. I mean, and that was a huge disappointment. But to lead off my list at number 1 is Darkwing Duck, and I never even read it because Aaron Sparrow didn't write it. That's it.
Damn straight.
That's right. Thank you.
I don't think it's the worst. I think it's, your typical Dynamite, hand it to Nate Cosby, an editor that doesn't try and doesn't get back to people, and constantly puts out paying gigs, looking for work, and like a bunch of people send him stuff that he apparently never responds to. That's what's going on Twitter right now. I know that I have friends who did work for him, and when it came time for them to get paid, all of a sudden he ghosted them. So I don't know why Dynamite keeps handling him stuff to edit and package, but they do. And those
I forgot
books
about Thundercats. That was
Thundercats was terrible.
Yeah.
All those variant covers. Oh, Thundercats number 1. You're getting it? No, it was a terrible book.
I know Nick Barucci likes money. I don't know why he surrounds himself with glad-handing yes men that just do the barest minimum of work possible. You know, hire editors who make you money, Nick, who want the books to be good, who want to appeal to the fans of those properties that you paid out the ass for. Hire editors that give a shit, and they will make you more money. That's my pitch.
Man, yeah, I forgot about Thundercats. That was a bad book. That first issue sucked, Darren.
It super sucked. And then I tried, like, I checked in on a couple later issues, and I didn't like them anymore. It's Dynamite is a covers company largely.
Yeah.
And they don't care about what's inside. And that's the thing that's really depressing, because you could have both. You could have great covers, great cover programs, lots of exciting stuff, and then interiors that matter and stories that matter and that actually, you know, deliver for the fans of those properties. I don't know. See, now I'm getting frustrated. I'm just getting upset.
Salty Sparrow. Yes. Love it.
Very nice. So those will be our picks for the worst indie books. Those are good conversations, fellas. I will have to think about the worst books of the year now.
Yes.
It's here for the peoples. Bahat Cat says, let's be real. Any comic with Paul in it should be the worst.
I hope he's
That was
Venom.
so weird when he showed up in all new Venom #1.
That's what I couldn't remember where he showed up. Yeah, it's all new Venom.
He's going to be the all new Venom. You're going to get Paul whether you like it or not. They're going to make you.
If he becomes all new Venom, great. That would be awesome. It'd be so cool, and you could just hate on him. And it'd be the best.
Yeah.
I don't need him to be Venom to hate on him.
That's true. The man bun is the start. But you know.
What do you think, Jim? Is Paul worse than in Alejandro? Or am I overselling just how terrible of a character Alejandro is?
Yeah, here's the thing. If you say to people right now in the chat, hey, what about Alejandro? They're going to be like, what? You have to explain things. If you say, hey, you guys hate Paul, right? Everybody's in. And I ain't talking Paul McCartney.
Nobody's reading it. Yeah.
He's a gem. But yeah, nobody's. The idea of Paul just is the epitome and the poster child of everything wrong with the Spider Office. Not even just that book. It's just the whole kit and caboodle. It's just bad.
Yeah, Paul is like the new Superboy Prime. Paul is what editorial thinks of us. Paul is our stand-in.
Yep. Yeah, Paul Paul is just a dagger that's being twisted every time we see him. It's just the worst.
Mr. DC Comics says Tom King's Nightwing book is the worst in DC.
I mean Tom Taylor. Yeah, I saw this earlier.
You think it's Tom Taylor? Because Tom King did a Nightwing book a while ago that you loved, Jim.
That was a Grayson book, and that was like 2016. I do not think that he's talking about that. I did. I actually really liked it. It was with Tim Seeley. He ended up, but the problem was that was when I didn't know the tropes and tricks of Tom King. And when he ended up, it's like the best perfect storm, because when they left the book, because they got pulled off the book to then go and do Batman and Nightwing and Rebirth, and Lansing and Kelly came in to finish that book up. And whether or not Lansing and Kelly are great writers, the hive mind, that book had so much garbage that was piling up behind that you didn't realize, because it was so over the top ridiculous that they ended up having to try to pull it in. And up until then, it was just kind of a fun book. And I thought it was kind of it wasn't the greatest idea, but you had to do something with Nightwing after Forever Evil, because Dick Grayson was supposed to be dead. So you had to kind of twist and turn things. I liked it. It was actually one of my favorite books up until about issue 12. And then it ended up falling apart.
What do you think, Dylan? Is Tom Taylor's Nightwing worst of the year from DC?
I didn't read a single issue of it this year, but I
boring,
read I read the first, like, I don't remember how many issues of it, and I did a whole video on it because it was so annoying, because he had this homeless killer, this guy that was killing homeless people, and I did the math on the wall. I can't remember how many, but it was like it was an insane amount of hearts on the wall. So he had killed like hundreds of homeless people. And Nightwing was out here doing like charity events, getting pickpocketed by homeless kids, being like, that's cool. Not taking care of this mass murderer in his own city. Like every issue is doing something else that was not annoying. Like, oh, corrupt cops are the problem, not this guy that's killing everyone in my city. It was that made me drop.
Funniest thing too is when you had Heartless out there, Tom Taylor would take so long to get back to him that he'd have to reintroduce the main villain of the entire deal, because he took so long, and it changed every time. And then in a side thing that Tom Taylor did a lot of, he would then have somebody there say, whoa, that was a crazy 1 week, because you were supposed to think all of this happened in like a week, and it was so over the top. bad.
And he gave him a sister with Tony Zuko's daughter. That's what I hate, because I'm digging the new Nightwing run right now.
And
Like
she's
2
the
issues in.
mayor
It's
of
pretty
London.
good. I like
Yeah.
it, but I hate every time she shows up. Like, oh, I forgot
Melinda.
she's a part of this.
Man.
It's
Yeah.
so stupid that she's a part of it. It sucks. I wish
The
she'd like
Secret Sisters.
And then Rick Grayson's girlfriend's a secret pirate. Arg, what booty? Arg,
Nah.
pirate booty.
Pirate Princess.
It's just
Yeah.
that book is terrible, but I didn't read a single issue from this year, so I can't comment on
It
this
is
year.
pretty
But
bad.
It
and
got
it
worse.
was really bad.
It's that surface level stuff that Tom Taylor does where he has like, I'm going to signal a problem, but the way to solve it is that like he tears down a prison, but we still think those prisoners are just running around the street
Because they are.
And
And
it
but he decides that they're not actually. They didn't.
Well,
deserve
see, and
to
then a
be
lot
there.
of them end up homeless because they don't have anywhere to go, and then
Lose their heart.
and then Heartless kills them. See,
Yeah,
it's Nightwing solving problems in the city. He's solving the homeless crisis.
Also,
Bloodhaven.
the kids are
Yeah.
regularly robbing like the normal
Oh, yeah.
citizens
Yep.
of
Yeah.
Bloodhaven. He's fine with it. He's like, well, they're homeless, so they can do that. So like, if you're someone surviving paycheck to paycheck and like just a kid steals your wallet, Nightwing's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah,
Gonna do
it's
nothing
it's
about
fine. And even in that, when he ends up that tent city the kids are living in,
Mhm.
Nightwing's
Yeah,
like,
Taco
oh, it's
Tuesday,
a problem.
though. Don't
Yeah,
forget that.
and that's all he did. That's how he solved it. He gave out free pizza for a couple days, and but he wasn't really solving the issue. And really, what Tom Taylor did, where he did, it was just Nightwing, Dick Grayson throwing money at every problem, and just like that, and then that was supposed to
Well,
solve it.
that's what idiots like Tom Taylor think solves a problem. You know, and here
Yeah,
in California, we've thrown more money, we've wasted more money on the homeless problem, and it's just gotten worse because it never addresses any of the issues. You can build homes for these people, but if they're mentally ill, they don't adhere to the rules, they're violent, they fight each other, they get thrown out because they cannot function as normal civilized human beings. They need to be rehabilitated. They have mental health problems. They have drug addiction problems, and they never want to address that. They never want to put together programs that actually, and funnel money into those, because then their political cronies can't skim off the top.
Well, they also.
Another-
I was going to say the only thing that's because they don't realize the basic law of supply and demand. When you spend a lot of money on a problem, you're creating new demand for it, and the supply will increase to meet your demand.
And the people that are in charge, they have no vested interest in solving the problem because they need to continue to run on it. So it's like when you have guys like Tom Taylor come in, they're like, if we just took Elon Musk's money and we gave it to the homeless, everything would be solved. It's like, no, everything is way more complicated than the way that you view it.
Commies.
Next up, Federico De La Casa. The problem with most Marvel DC books is they feature mentally ill people, and by their behavior online, the writers too. The comics bullpen seems more like Arkham Asylum.
This is my favorite
They're
comment
not
of the day.
wrong.
That's something I was going to say about Nightwing, where like one of the really weird things is he applies his own views to Nightwing, where Nightwing says that like all billionaires are evil. It's like there's no one I can think of that would have that opinion less than Nightwing. His entire world was changed by a billionaire. And again, it's not the real world. Like, this is fiction. This is comic books. The billionaire he knows is Bruce Wayne, who is a good guy that changed his life and does good things with his money. But Tom Taylor's like, no, he realizes that money's evil and every single person that has money is bad. It's like, that's not Dick Grayson. That makes no sense to come from Dick Grayson's point of view. That's so dumb, but that's how Tom Taylor views it.
He's retarded. Somebody should send him back to his prison colony country.
And take
Well, and here's the
Also
thing,
cut off the internet to him.
And in the chat, Neil's talking about injustice, which a lot of people shit on now. But people remember Tom Taylor, what he was known for before
he
the
killed
current
Nightwing.
deal was that he killed people. That's the
Yeah.
thing. He was known as the guy who, even when he had that Suicide Squad book, when it was first announced, it was, who is he going to kill? And I think it got to him. I think that it got to him, people online saying that, and he went the exact opposite, where now it's, I won't even let heroes punch people. And he ended up really, because I really liked Injustice. When he killed Nightwing, it killed me. But the
way he did it
Damian
was so
to it
bad.
was so like by accident in that deal was really
fell
bad.
on a rock.
Yeah, fell on the rock after Damian hit him, and then it's just like, oh god. But the idea where that's why, again, when Tom Taylor writes the Elseworld stuff, people still seem to like it, because that's where I feel like he's doing what he usually used to write. He'll kill people who do. I think that he's so concerned now of what people think in the regular continuity that he just doesn't want to have any of the heroes. I mean, Nightwing for this whole run, he's been the PR agent of Dick Grayson Nightwing. He's just there to tell us Nightwing's great. Nightwing's great. Look, everybody wants to help him. Never got a story going. And in the meantime, while he's doing that, Nightwing's the worst because he's letting a serial killer just run rampant. And Dylan's 100% right. He let like 50 people die. Like all these kids are dead, no parents, and they got to get together. They'll be the orphans and they'll take them down or something later, but it's just ridiculous.
Next up, we've got HH and the fellas over at Sigma Comics. Shout out to the Think Critical team. There are lots of great comics at your LCS, and they're all indie. Get those stocking stuffers now. Support the show in your LCS. Absolutely.
Huzzah.
I had a little rant yesterday. I was talking about what the hell's Marvel doing? The DC's better, but they got a long ways to go. Then I got the indies but there's so much good stuff on the indie scene. There's so much good stuff to read. And certainly,
it's not all gloom and doom.
Calico.
There is some great stuff out there, especially on the indie scene that you guys, so, obviously, we talk a lot about the big two because you kind of have to. It's the only way to get anybody to listen to anything else, but we do try to recommend indies along the way to help prop them up and get some attention on them because, companies like Ghost Machine, they are not doing nearly enough PR. There's too many people that still don't know that those books exist.
And Here Comes Calico exists right now on Kickstarter along with Kneel Before Doomface. You want to go and support some awesome indie books that are available right now for crowdfunding. Callum, to the people who hate capitalism, why don't you just move?
It's true.
Because
They
it's the
can't
same
afford to.
reason. It's the same reason weirdo progressive activists don't want to create their own comics, because it's not about just having a thing that they want. It's about taking away a thing that somebody else has and that they look at as a problem.
Exactly.
They need to take away capitalist America.
Share his power. He has got to be forced to share his power. This is all like academic postmodernism, and that's where the writers come from. And it's just how are you selling this to the blue-collar masses?
I like it better when the writers came from fucking World War II.
Exactly.
Damn straight.
Or even
real
Vietnam.
heroism looked like.
I mean, these writers like fighting Nazis more than those guys, though.
Yeah.
It's a good one, Bill.
Jack Kirby's got nothing on me. I got a head.
I punch Nazis daily on Twitter.
Remember that Lois
No, not
Lane
on Twitter
book
anymore.
from-
I went to Blue Sky.
Oh,
I'm over on
Blue
Blue
Sky.
Sky now.
It's a blue ski.
Remember the
Pedos.
Greg Rucka Lois Lane book, and she had the laptop in, and it says, "I kill fascists" or whatever. Remember that on the cover?
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh, people are so dumb.
Oh my gosh.
Next up, we've got Sleeve McDakel.
Hello.
Tom King has a unique piece to be bad in the most annoying ways possible.
Mhm.
After all these years, he still surprised me with new creative headaches. The idea of that Sovereign is Wonder Woman's Joker is laughable.
Mm.
Yep.
Could have been better.
And I'm looking forward to what's inevitable in the Black Canary mini he's doing. Who's he going to ruin and who's he going to kill
Well,
off?
Black Canary and
And
20
Shiva's
20
getting ruined.
Yeah, $20 says that he kills off Black Canary's mother, the original.
Well, I mean, she has
Black Canary.
cancer
she
and
has cancer.
she
Oh,
died. But that's
here
the
we go.
thing. She died originally of cancer. So it's not even anything he's doing different. That's
Okay.
just the deal.
Guys, do you
So
know? Have you guys realized yet that Tom King's really sad? He just really wants
He
you to
is
know
sad.
he's really sad.
He
You guys
does-
just-
Yeah, but did you know he was in the CIA? He's never mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Did you know he misses his mommy real much?
More his
What?
daddy. His dad ditched him. But
Do you think Tom King didn't get hugged enough, or you think he got hugged too much?
I
He
think
got
mommy
too
hugged
he
him a
got hugged
little
too much, but he didn't get enough from the opposite deal. So yeah. So he's strong ladies mean that you're mean,
He
yell at
never-
people and bitch.
He never had to hold the flashlight for dad. That's the problem.
What's with the
Oh my
modern
God,
writers?
Doc, can I use that for Colonel Silverstreak? I think
Yes.
that's great.
What is it with modern writers? Whenever they create a new villain, they're like, "I'm going to create the greatest villain in the history of the world for this character." It's like that's not really how it works. You create the villain.
Yeah.
You create the first conflict. If it's popular, you bring it back. And like the Joker wasn't
Mhm.
The Joker in the first issue.
All
it
those
takes
first deals.
years to do that. So,
You go and
yeah.
read some of the run of Batman, and it's like boom, boom, boom. You have Penguin. Then next deal is that, and you see what hits, and then you come back. But I think that one of the biggest problems with all of comics right now are a lot of these writers cannot write a really good villain. They end up writing a villain that ends up. It's like a villain is just a friend you haven't met yet, or it's just like not even threatening because you end up they're all goofy, and it's one of the things.
Sometimes the villain's making way too much sense. You're like,
yeah.
Do you remember?
It is a
Do you
good
remember
idea.
when Marvel decided that they were making a new nemesis for
And-
Wolverine?
Yeah.
And
Animated
what the
movie.
fuck was
Romulus?
that guy's name?
Romulus.
Oh, that was the
No.
first time they tried to do it. No, the one from Dinner Party of X.
The one who
that's
had
the
the secret
swords.
crush on.
Yeah, the one that wanted to fuck him real bad.
Animated.
Yeah.
Skin, yeah.
The shiny
That was bad.
Twinkie guy that had a lot of
Skate.
chicks. Yeah.
And the
What was that
one
dude's even
rockin' mutant with the nose that was missing was trying to kill him or something.
Oh yeah, that one.
I remember. It's been a while. That guy.
Yeah, all those guys. They were so memorable. They're that guy.
Yeah.
At least I remember Romulus's name.
Exactly.
I think Sovereign will be just as memorable as that guy in the end.
It was funny. I was going to
And he
mention
comes
the
off
idea
as
of
so
Jeb
dumb,
McKay.
Jim.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, here's
He
the
literally
thing.
had her in prison and just let her out.
And then lets her go on a trip to the space mall. Then you have the cancer kid issue. And what is he doing during that time? And the idea that
She had
you know,
work release.
yeah, and just then during, I mean, it's Tom King's fault, but during the whole Absolute Power, Sovereign should have been right in. This is a way to go in and just destroy Wonder Woman, and just seemed to have taken, kind of taken a little time off, a little me time. And also, again, you start off the series by showing us he lost. He's talking about the story, saying he already lost. The only thing that I think that Tom King has done is make him so damn annoying that you just want him to die. So at least you have that, but it's just so over the top. The narration ruins all the pacing in the book. And while you're doing basically the whole thing narration, and that ruins the art too, because you're not able to like show a lot of things, because it's just him saying, oh, and then she was in a cell, and oh, she was eating a rat, and it's awful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Baja Cat. What's this about Absolute Superman needing to charge at night so he can only fight evil during the day now?
That doesn't seem to make any sense.
Well, he
Is that
can
how it
certainly
works?
charge from the moon's reflection off the sun, but I don't remember that part.
Yeah,
Dylan.
me neither.
I don't either. I don't remember them saying that he charged at night. I remember him palling around with Lois and her writing her first. I don't remember anything about him charging at night. But also,
Yeah.
I forgot a lot of that last issue.
Pretty sure
Kinda.
so did the writers.
Yeah, kind of read it and then didn't stick around.
In the eyes, out the brain, immediately.
Yep. I remember more of the first issue because we talked about it. That one had a whole conversation with this one. I just read it. It's like, okay.
I don't know. There's an article that says he's vulnerable at night. So maybe you got that one backwards, but I had.
Well, no, here's
Well,
the thing.
I am too.
No, in the first issue, he was charging up, and he had that like cocoon type thing there that he had all those wires coming to, and you had Soul saying you can't go out, you're not charged all the way, and he went out.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, remember that?
yeah.
So it does seem like either like his cells don't hold it as long or whatnot, and he does have to recharge.
I might have memory dumped that because it was such a dumb idea.
Yeah,
I was like, this
yeah.
this comic is retarded enough without that.
Superman
Like
is a
that.
golf cart.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He's a golf cart.
A lithium battery.
Yeah.
Man, Wraith-X7 is saying worse than 24 is Night Thrasher.
I was going to bring that up, and I didn't want to shame saying to Wes that I told him that was going to be garbage.
I told you it was going to be garbage by the end.
No,
But the first couple issues
you
were fine.
they were after that first issue was terrible. It was all terrible, awful.
He was taking down those kids that were like mass robbing people.
You
I
thought it was
great.
funny. We
It was
laughed at
funny.
it. It was not good. The deal, awful.
You don't like Jay Holtham? Isn't that the guy's name? Something like that.
I think, yeah. It was
Who
really
knows?
bad. That almost went on my list, though.
And Mr. DC Comics, Doc, what's the appeal of Marvel over DC? That's a good question. I feel like Marvel has more anti-heroes and DC has more actual heroes. Mr. DC Comics got a really good point there, Doc.
Well, okay, so there's a couple of things. One is that the DC heroes are too godlike, almost mythologically amazing, which makes them less relatable. You have to, like, just on their basic, on the surface level, they are unrelatable. You have to be really, really good as a creator to write a story to make them relatable to the average person, or even aspirational. Because outside of Batman, okay, you could try to do good, but guess what? You still ain't stopping a fucking meteor coming to Earth, or an alien invasion. No matter how hard, no matter how much of a great person you are, you need fucking Superman powers to do that shit. So, you have that, plus the fact that legacies. I fucking hate legacies. I despise them. Fundamentally, they are antithetical, as far as I'm concerned, to being a superhero. By virtue of being a superhero, the act of going out, ignoring the law, placing your own morality, because that's what they're doing. They're acting on their moral imperatives, whether it's objectively accurate or not, or it's within the legal framework of the world. They're basically valuing their own moral, imperatives over the law, the system, everything like that. So by that is a wildly egotistical endeavor. Do you know the last thing you ever do if you are that egotistical? Wear some other guy's name.
That's why you like Marvel more than DC?
Legacies. Fuck legacies.
Oh, you hate legacy characters.
Yes.
I got you.
DC is built around a lot of legacies, and the you weren't here for it, but the
Had to pee.
overall whereas Marvel is a little bit more everyman type heroes, and up until probably the last 15 years, even superheroes weren't like, outside of your Silver Surfers and Thors and Hulks, they weren't like, not everybody could pick up a fucking tank and throw it halfway across the planet. Like, Wolverine was just a strong guy. Same with Cyclops. Now even Captain America was just peak human condition. Now all of them are like, powerlifting freaks. No matter what. I mean, so there was a little bit more of an everymanness to Marvel heroes, where DC heroes were more godlike and almost unrelatable unless you had a really good writer.
Kalichi's got a great breakdown of it. He says DC is gods seeking to become human. Marvel is humans seeking to do the work of gods. And I think that's a pretty apt description of the characters.
I would agree.
There we go. We got the answer from Doc himself. Really appreciate that. And it doesn't appear we're going to have time to talk about Ultimate Universe 1 year in, but I'm sorry, Dylan, you probably read that.
I did read it.
Did you like it?
You did?
Not really. I thought like some of the Nick Fury stuff was interesting, but then the rest of it, the overall plot, I thought was dumb and boring, and I couldn't care less about. But like Nick Fury trying to like figure things out himself and like what he was doing, I thought that was interesting. But the rest of it, I couldn't care less about.
Very nice.
Since I did not read it, I have one question for those that did.
Okay.
Is it white Nick Fury or black Nick Fury?
White Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
But not really.
The absent universe. Let's get to some comic book recommendations and wrap this bad boy up, because Daddy does need some chicken nuggies. So it sounds like we will not be hearing about Ultimate Universe 1 year in from Dylan. Do you have any other books you would like to recommend this week, and maybe some other things that people need to know about?
Yeah, I'm all DC this week. Green Lantern number 18. It is the end of that arc. It's really good. It is a little shorter than I would have liked, but still really good. Batman and Robin number 16. This is my favorite book of DC right now. I'm really digging what Philip Kennedy Johnson is doing on Batman and Robin. It's been great. DC vs. Vampires number 5. It's fun. It's not the best book of all time, but it's fun, and I really like Green Arrow consistently, and I like the way he's written. And then Batman Dark Patterns I really like. So we're getting a mystery. I love the way Batman's drawn in that. I think it looks really cool. And yeah, that was surprised. I just checked that out. Was not expecting Batman Dark Patterns to be anything.
I like the really
good,
bright
but
yellow logo.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And it's
And
there's one panel where like you see the slide coming back and the shell ejecting when he's getting shot at. And you see holes in the cape. It's just like a really cool panel. And it's all blue, like Batman's all blue. It looked really cool.
Same artist as Absolute Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
People are surprised when they don't realize that.
Yeah.
I
didn't
liked
know.
in Batman and Robin where Damian's like, I'm not going to be able to go out on patrol because I'm
Batman's
volunteering at a
pissed.
hospital. And Batman's like, what the fuck is your
Yeah,
problem?
yeah, it's
What are
like,
your
what are you
priorities?
doing?
Batman's a
Yeah.
dick.
Yeah. I like that.
You
That's
should
good.
be-
He's like, you
be
gave me
hunting down-
Dad's journal. Like,
He's like, not on my watch.
It's pretty
You do
good.
that on your own time.
that part with Scarecrow was great, though. I love that.
That was really good. I love that moment too. That one, like the end of that comic, really, it was like building up and building up. Couldn't believe it.
The only thing I didn't like is, again, it's Batman claiming, to the teeth, that it's not Memento. It's not Memento. And then at the end, oh shit, it's Memento. He keeps doing this, but it's still good.
I'm
So
fine with Batman being a bit stubborn there.
Yeah, he's stubborn to the point where a lot of people end up like Court of the Owls can't be. League of Shadows, no, nothing. And that he just keeps doing it. He keeps doing
One of
where
these
he
times
doesn't
he'll be
do it.
right, though.
Here's the
eventually.
thing. The weird thing is, I think he's still going to be. I think that he's going to find out now that it isn't really him. It's some other thing and whatever. But he was right with Shush being connected to Hush. So he was right there.
I'm that big leap of logic
Yeah,
there
yeah.
for the
Okay,
shush
everybody.
lady to
He
have
wouldn't
some
stop.
relationship
Yeah.
with Hush guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
are you recommending people watch the UFC this weekend, or should they just wait till the next year?
What is that? All I know is Colby Covington is fighting Buckley. Actually, this looks like a decent card for a fight night. I'd say check it out. Cub Swanson's fighting Corntel. That'll be a really fun fight. Doesn't really mean anything for the division. That'll be a fun fight. Cape's fighting. Yeah, it's a fun card. For a free card, I would definitely say check it out.
Very nice. The next up, we got Sully. You got any books you want to recommend?
I went to my local comic book shop just yesterday and picked up my pull list. I'm all about going to my LCS, and you know how we're going to save comics? We got to show up and buy them. So this week, what did I get? Well, Transformers 15. This thing is still hitting it out of the park every month. Love the Jorge Corona art. It fits in really well with what Daniel Warren Johnson did at the beginning of this book. Still, beautiful art, beautiful panels, great story. I picked up that Superwoman special just because I've got every other issue of Superman written by Joshua Williamson, and it's just part of the collection. I got Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night, 3 of 4. This is a really fun holiday. It's a Christmas book, and I like how DC Comics is embracing Santa Claus and Christmas. That goes a long way with me. I picked up Return of the Warrior by Billy Tucci on Crusade Comics, 2 of 2. And I'm glad to support Billy Tucci. He's a great guy, awesome creator, lovely art. He went to the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. He knows how to draw models. He draws the prettiest women, I swear. Hulk number 20 was really good. See, Danny Earls has really grown on me. I'm a big Nick Klein fan, and that's what I'm in for. But it's like having starting your pitchers. You have an ace, and you have a solid number 2 pitcher in your rotation. And Danny Earls he's become that solid number 2 pitcher. I'm still into this. Great book, and I am all in for Green Lantern. Green Lantern 18, wonderful book. Great colors. You're right about the story. It seems to just end suddenly, but overall, this is a fun book. And also, much love and shout out to Deadpool Team Up number 4 by Rob Liefeld. Fun, stupid book, but still full of great superhero art, heroic poses, dynamic action and punching scenes. It's a lot of good stuff in that book. So don't sleep on that. And thank you very much for having me on the panel again, Wes.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And
Cheers.
who else we got? Sparrow, you recommending funny books this week?
Well, first of all, I'd like to back up Sully and say, don't sleep on any of your books. It's going to wrinkle them. It's going to ruin them. Don't do it.
It's true.
You don't get a good night's
It's so
sleep.
tough. So tough to pick some favorites this week. In a week that saw the release of Laura Kinney Wolverine #1, Uncanny X-Men #7. These kind of Phoenix.
Not a good X-Men
These
week.
kind of powerhouse books coming out. It's
Phoenix
really tough
6.
to. It's really tough. Another issue of Dazzler came out this week. Just so many things to choose from. So I'm not going to choose any of those. I'm going to go with Green Lantern 18, which came out from Jeremy Adams this week. Continuing that story, it's been getting really good. I think he's really building to something interesting as we get towards the the fractured lanterns and all these other pieces of the emotional spectrum that he's bringing in. I'm having a good time with it, so I recommend that. I'm going to also recommend that you guys check out Conan the Barbarian if you're not already. We can't sell you enough on this series. Go pick up Jim Zub's Conan. Also, Space Ghost is out this week. So there's some really good comics out there. Like I said, mostly, with the exception of Green Lantern being from the big two, everything that I'm interested in is indie. By the way, did you guys know that an Infinity Watch book came out this week?
No.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
collection of
It's
old
going.
stuff.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a
No,
whole
it's
new series.
No, it's a whole #1. It's a lot
Oh.
like Forever People by Kirby, because each one of them, they all add up to make some mega power. And Colleen Wing now has the Soul Stone, so that just
This Infinity Watch shit has been going on for like 6 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they keep trying to
There's
do
new
it. It's being
annuals,
written
it's
by
been-
Derek Landy, which is a name I've heard, but that I can't name anybody.
Fucking who?
stop trying to make fetch happen.
And then it's like I don't know, it's, okay. And then there's a pet pool book out this week.
Oh God,
Mhm.
That was definitely like a Marvel Infinity comic original.
Man.
Just so embarrassing.
Is
Marvel is
All right.
embarrassing.
Fellas, Daddy needs his chicken nuggets. Jim, do you
Yeah.
have a recommendation this week?
I want to get some of the positivity of Sully. So I like the Batman and Robin #16. It's my book.
That's a
suite.
bag of weed.
That is, it might be. Actually, it was like a hoagie thing there. I could throw that aside. Batman
Jimmy
and Robin.
John's.
I don't have a damn fridge. Batman and Robin #16, I think, is the best book this week. I loved it, even though I was, kind of going with Dylan there about the ending. I thought it was great. When Batman is mad at Damian, might be one of my favorite. It's so good. It just shows that it's one of those things. If you look at it on surface level, you think it's goofy, but it does kind of give Batman a little more of like humanity, of the idea that he's all about telling Damian what he should do. And when he goes to do it, he's pissed because it ruins his shit. And they're in the
Damian
middle
carries
of
the
something
mask.
big. Yeah, oh, it's so great. And I love where Damian's, and really how you can tell how Philip Kennedy Johnson, when he writes a book, how good he is in the scene of the book. Damian does not say, I read your dad's journal. He doesn't say, I read your grandfather's journal. They're in masks. And he says, I read Thomas Wayne's journal, because he would never say something that would, give up the identity while he's in it. I thought that was really clever. But I also did like Green Lantern 18. I'm telling you, Batman Dark Patterns, I think people should check it out. I think that it's a bit rough when you think about some of the things of what Batman's doing, but it is back in the day, and it seems like it could be really cool. I wish the art was really good in the architecture, and some of the vehicles was really great. But when you end up where you see the villain, I wish it was a little more detailed. I thought it was Lady Gaga at first, but the idea, like it's a very visual thing with the villain. And I think more detail might have served it a little better to be just horrific. But I still think people should check it out.
Very nice. You got any dirty songs they should be looking out for? You got
Yeah,
any
just
premieres?
some. Probably I have to get a thumbnail together for one, but it'll be coming out this afternoon. It's about a little bunghole play, so you can see that. I don't know if it'll be allowed. I got to see. That's the other thing. I got to see. Once I load it up, I have to look to see if the check goes. Some of the songs I have to bail before they even go up, but I'm on probation right now, so I got to watch it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we have Doc. He returned to the channel successfully this week in triumph. Are you recommending any comic books?
Well, I would recommend that tomorrow you all go and check out our review of Amazing Spider-Man 63.
Monday.
Oh, Monday. by world-renowned nobody, Justina Ireland. That's probably going to end up the new ASM writer, unfortunately, because apparently Nick Lowe had a severe head injury.
She hates you, by the way. She hates you.
I know.
Mm-hmm. And she hates all the white people that might buy the book.
Yeah, she definitely has a thing about. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do the books, Doc.
But regardless,
enough of the jokes.
So I am going to go with, again, like usual, old comics. And I am on a bit of an apocalypse kick right now so we're going to go with Astonishing X-Men #1. This is the Authentics variant. This is before they were always doing like just the pencil variants. And it's actually, it even had like back in the day when they had like certificate of authenticity and shit like that. But yeah,
nice.
this was leading up to right before the 12 storyline that was kind of the culmination of many years of hints with Apocalypse. Then we are going to go with, I'm just going to do a double here. X Factor 5 and 6. So you have the cameo and the cameo and the first full appearance of Apocalypse in this. And great stories. Cool. He's more in like the shadows in the one, and then you get to see him fully after you see his full face on the cover for the first time. So X Factor 5 and X Factor 6. So those are my 3. And if you want, I recommend going and checking out the X-Men the 12. I think it's available in an omnibus. Kind of fills out a multi-decade long story arc that they were hinting at. So go and check that out too.
I love how clean
Very
that
nice.
X Factor 5 is. It's tough to find a white cover that's that pristine.
I know, right? So I love that book. I had found it a number of years ago, and it has never been touched by human hands, as far as I can tell.
Do you want to say thank you very much to the entire panel? Had a lot of fun. I'm craving the chicken nuggets, so we are going to have to say goodbye, but I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend getting ready for Christmas.
Was that a
Sayonara.